Good afternoon, race fans, wherever you may be today, and welcome. Welcome to the 2020 H1 Unlimited Driver Invitational Series. My name is Brad Luce. Today, June 27th, we were supposed to be standing on the shores of beautiful Lake Guntersville, watching the fastest race boats in the world compete for the Southern Cup. The COVID virus had other plans for us. But all is not lost. Today, we come to you virtually from Guntersville, Alabama, and the Guntersville Hydrofest Race for the Southern Cup. Unlike previous H1 E-League races, today your favorite virtual hydroplane will be driven and controlled by your favorite H1 driver. That's right. Today we will see Jimmy Shane, Jamie Nielsen, Bert Henderson, etc. sit virtually in the driver's seat of their race boat and battle each other on the race course. It should be fun. It's the Race for the Southern Cup, and we're about to get underway. Before we do, a couple of rule changes you need to be aware of today. Unlike previous E-League races, drivers will be allowed resets during the racing should they encounter a problem. For example, should a driver flip his hydroplane, that driver will be allowed to continue and rejoin the racing after the boat resets. Additionally, the milling period today will be 5 minutes instead of the previous 6. Aside from that, the H1 Drivers Invitational Race will follow the traditional H1 Unlimited format, with drivers accumulating points throughout the day in pursuit of the 2020 Southern Cup. My broadcast partner today is a guy who knows exactly what is required to not only drive one of these virtual hydroplanes, but also how to win when doing so. He has over 2 years of UHL driving experience and was the 2018-19 SNHL National Drivers Champion. It is my great pleasure to welcome to the broadcast booth the young man out of Grand Island, New York. He is Fast Eddie Canfouche. Hello, Eddie. How are you, son?
Doing all right, Brad. Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be on the broadcast today and really honored to do it with you.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun, but this has got to be different for you. Here you are suddenly on the microphone instead of at the controls of one of these boats.
Yeah, it's a little different. I mean, we ran some races in the off season from our last season where I did some commentary over it, but this is something different, a little higher pressure, but see how it goes.
Well, we are going to lean on you, I think, pretty heavy today, because as I've been talking on some of our previous racing and will be today, we'll be talking about the amount of control that is required to drive one of these things. Back in the day, in real hydroplane racing, back in the 40s and the 50s, there was the old line of stab it and steer it and turn left. There's a lot more to it than that on these virtual things. You really have to ride that wing, and it's a delicate balance if you want to go fast.
Absolutely. There's a very fine line that the best drivers who've practiced quite a bit can find. And that's a big part of going fast in this game. It's a lot, like you said, back in the day, it used to be about stab it and steer it, but now it's more like how smooth can you be to keep speed up around the course.
uh, so politely put, is it possible we may see a blowover or two today?
Uh, I think it might be in the cards.
Let's talk briefly here about our race format. We've got 9 boats ready to go here today in our racing. And so on the Lake Guntersville race course, we can run 5 boats on the front row. So in our A sections, we will have 5 boats in those heats. In the B section, we will have 4. We will run heats 1, 2, and 3. The idea of racing, just like it is in real H1 racing, accumulate points and get yourself into the final, because at that point, we throw the points out the window and it is a winner take all 5-lap final, 3 laps in the prelims. Are you ready to go, my friend?
Absolutely. Let's get this thing going.
Let's take a look at the qualifying that has already taken place. And I was impressed with the speeds. One of the things we've been noticing as we've gone through some of the E-League racing is how tightly compact the field has been between the fastest qualifier and, I hate to use the word slowest, but the lower qualifying speed. We see much the same right here with our qualifying speeds on these guys.
Well, in the game, there's no ability to change setups or everything. So everyone's on an equal playing field here. So then it's totally up to the driver on how they're going to run their lap. And that leads to some pretty close qualifying times.
And let's take this opportunity now to run down those 9 boats that we said were going to be competing today. At the top of the list there, the U1, the blue and white Miss Home Street. Jimmy Shane will be behind the wheel of that boat, qualifying north of 160 miles an hour. Bert Henderson out of Brockville, Ontario, Canada, will pilot the Spirit of Detroit, the U7. Scott Przybylski will step behind the seat of the U9 Delta Rail Track. Jamie Nielsen will pilot the J&D's U11. Travis Johnson will fill in for J. Michael Kelly today, driving the Graham Trucking, the U12. J. Michael with a previous commitment. Same to be said for Jeff Bernard. He will not be driving the Goodman Real Estate U91. Trey Holt from Madison, Indiana will take over those driving duties. Corey Peabody from Kent, Washington will drive the Graham Trucking American Dream U98. Taylor Evans will take over a seat you've been driving, Eddie, driving Bucket List Miss Rock, the 99.9. And rounding out our field will be Aaron Salmon in the U40 Bucket List Racing. It should be good. I'm ready to go. I think we're about ready to do so. But first, let's get a word from our sponsors. Okay, so we're just about ready to go racing, and just like we do in real H1 Unlimited racing, we have to place our boats in our Heat 1A and 1B via a blind draw, and we have a very special guest to do that draw for Heats 1A and 1B today. Those duties are going to be handled today by Katie Norton from Guntersville, Alabama. Katie, as we all know, is the president of the Marshall County Convention and Visitors Bureau, but she also doubles a very important role and serves as the race director for the Guntersville Hydrofest each year. And if you have not been to the H1 Unlimited race in Guntersville, you need to put that one on your bucket list and make it happen. It is a terrific venue, a terrific event, and some of the finest people you'll ever want to meet are from Guntersville and the surrounding area. But beyond that, let's turn it over to Katie Norton and the draws for Heat 1A and 1B.
Hey y'all, it's Katie Norton from Lake Guntersville. I'm so excited that I'm getting to do the heat draw for Heat 1A and 1B for the first annual Drivers Invitational virtual race. I hope I said that right. So I'm going to draw for Heat 1A. First boat will be the U440 for Heat 1A. We're really sad that you're not going to be able to be here in person with us, but we hope that everybody's going to have a good time watching this virtual race. Very exciting. Heat 1B first is the U999. Racing in Heat 1B. All right, our second boat for Heat 1A will be, wait, I drew two. The U91. Heat 1A, the U91. Second boat for Heat 1B is the U1, racing in Heat 1B. All right, this is our third draw for Heat 1A. the boat U12. U12 will race heat 1A. All right. Third for 1B, the U7. Gonna race in heat 1B. All right, we've got 2 more boats in heat 1A, so let's do the 4th boat for heat 1A will be U9. And this is gonna be our final draw for heat 1B. The final boat in heat 1B will be the U98. So we got 4 racing in heat 1B, and this is our 5th boat for heat 1A, and it's the U11. So I want to wish all of you drivers good luck. This is the first heat in the virtual Guntersville Lake Hydrofest. We're so very excited. We have several locations here in our town that are doing watch parties and streaming live in some of our restaurants, both Jefferson's and the Brick. So those of you who are local, come on down and have a good time with us. We're doing some giveaways, and you'll get to check out how this gaming software works, this HydroSim software. We're very excited. And all of you who sponsor, all the fans who participate and come, we look forward to seeing you next summer right here at Lake Guntersville for the Guntersville Lake Hydrofest 2021, the last weekend in June. Thanks, y'all.
Well, I want to say thank you to Katie Norton there for providing us with the draw for Heat 1A and 1B. Good to see Katie, and good to see her down by the water on beautiful Lake Guntersville. And also want to take this opportunity to follow up on what she was just talking about there, that being the watch parties in the Guntersville area. I'd like to add our hello to the folks at Jefferson Sports Bar in Albertville and the Brick in Guntersville. Well, I think we're ready to go racing here. Eddie Canfouche, we've got the draw. We've had qualifying. We know who's in 1A and 1B. There's only one thing left to do. Let's put them on the water and let's go racing.
Let's do it.
Let's make this thing happen. Quickly running down who is going to be in our Heat 1A. Scott Przybylski is going to pilot the U9 Delta Reel Track. Jamie Nielsen will drive the J&Ds, the U11. Travis Johnson will handle the driving chores, the U12, the Graham Trucking. That's the red, black, and trimmed in silver hydroplane. The Goodman Real Estate 91 will be driven by Trey Holt, and rounding out our 5-boat field, Tennessee Orange and the U440 Bucket List Racing 2, Aaron Salmon. Good to have Aaron back in the seat. He did his first driving of an unlimited in Guntersville 2 years ago. Almost got qualified down there originally. Were it not for some bad weather, he would have made it. So the 9, the 11, the 12, the 91, and the 440. Eddie, who do you like in this one?
It's a tough one. I've seen a lot of practice going on from a few of these drivers. I know Jamie's definitely got a lot of practice in. I've seen Trey on a lot too, and then Travis and Scott. Oh.
And we've got boats away from the pit area. First boat coming across the lake there from the pit area to the race course. And if you're familiar at all with this one in Guntersville, you've got to come all the way across the lake. There is just no other convenient spot for the pit area there on the Lake Guntersville race course. This works very, very well. The boats just have to come across the water to get to the course. First boat away, the U11 J&D's Jamie Nielsen.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty there with the clock there, but we got it all sorted out, and now the heat can begin. 4 minutes and 30 seconds left as the boats are making their way to the course. It's a really long drive over there, which makes it really interesting.
Yeah, I remember talking to Andrew Tate about that, and I said, what do you do when you're coming across the lake? And he said, it's pretty easy, even inside the cockpit, to see the officials' tower. And so he always said when he pulled away from the dock, he'd just aim right straight toward that officials' tower and then hopefully run into some buoys along the way, and knew that he found his way to the race course.
Well, in the game, there's no officials' tower by the start-finish line, but I've been playing long enough. I know what to look for. There's, specific mountain ranges where you can look. But I know a lot of people newer to the game like to follow the causeway up. So.
Right. So there's Travis Johnson driving the U12, the Graham Trucking, filling in for J. Michael Kelly, who was in Burley, Idaho this weekend. And Travis will handle those chores. The Graham Trucking, the U12, The boat is not only very, very fast in real life, it's very fast here in the virtual racing on Lake Guntersville. Got to be one of the favorites today, I would think, Eddie.
Yeah, definitely really quick. And if you remember, Quentin Miller was the winner of the E-League Guntersville race in the 12. So maybe we're looking for 2 for 2 here for Graham Trucking.
Well, if he's going to do that, he's going to have to knock off that boat on the screen. The U9 Delta Reel Trek. Scott Przybylski behind the wheel of that one. And I think everybody is very well aware of the 2018, the first ever inaugural Race for the Southern Cup in real life. One of the greatest final heats of all time involved the U9 and Andrew Tate behind the wheel, Jimmy Shane in the home street. A great race. I expect good things out of this boat, and Scott Przybylski also today.
For sure.
Heard Eddie talking about the causeway there. There it was as Scott got down to the lower corner. Now we're looking on board with the U440, the Bucket List Racing, Aaron Salmon. I like that Tennessee orange stuff. Us colorblind guys, and that includes me, Eddie. Colorblind guys like that bright orange. I can see it.
That group includes me too, so I like it too.
Oh, great. We got both of us.
Yep, I have a soft spot for that color too. I have to stare at it when racing in the E-League, so you get used to it. Nice
exactly
color.
Right. And speaking of bright colors, how about that one? And we don't refer to that as chartreuse and orange. We call it chartreuse and carnival orange of the U11, the J&Ds, Jamie Nielsen. What he's doing now is going very, very slowly down toward the entrance pin to that lower corner. Our start procedure is a little bit different here in our virtual racing than it is in real racing, because we cannot monitor 80 miles an hour on these boats and cannot therefore ensure that the boats are staying above 80 miles an hour during the milling period. We then institute what we call a 1 minute / score up buoy, and it is the exit buoy out of the lower corner, and the drivers cannot put their boat past that buoy before the 1 minute buoy, before that 1 minute mark. So there you're looking on the outside there, looking at the 91. That is the Goodman Real Estate. Trey Holt out of Madison, Indiana, taking over the driving chores for that one. Now here comes everybody up behind the field. Looks like Aaron's going to get into lane 1. We've already scored up. We are inside 1 minute and down the backstretch. See if anybody wants to leapfrog and get a different lane position. You do not set your lane, and we've hit a buoy. Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
And Jamie Nielsen popped a buoy coming up the backstretch. We'll see how the officials want to rule that, but I think that one's going to be a penalty. He was on the inside lane, but unfortunately he got a little close to one of those buoys. That can happen, Eddie. I'm sure you've done it before, but you got to feel terrible when it does.
Yep. Unfortunately, I have done that before, and it's real unfortunate for Jamie. He hit that score up with a lot of speed and was able to get himself clear of Aaron Salmon in the 440, and then just on his way over to lane 1, he popped that buoy, and that's a 1-lap penalty.
Looked to me like we were going to have Trey Holt was going to get to the inside, but he had a little trouble coming off the corner. We're inside 10 seconds until our start, and it is going to be Nielsen bringing him down to the line. But remember, he hit the buoy as they were scoring up during the 1 minute period. But we're racing now and going down to the lower corner. Jamie Nielsen on the inside. It's all chartreuse and carnival orange and some Tennessee orange on the outside. Nielsen's a little bit wide through the corner, but he is on the inside. Now he tightens it up a little bit. Got Salmon right in his right side rear view mirror, and then I believe he's got Travis Johnson in third and on the outside. Running hard down the backstretch. Jamie Nielsen's got the lead. Trying to run him down is Aaron Salmon. We're going to go 3 times around the race course here in our preliminary heat, so this is the first of 3 times around. When you're in second place like Aaron is right now, Eddie, what do you try and do? Defend your position, or do you try and go after him at this point? It's awfully early in the day.
Well, the situation right now, Jamie having hit that buoy, Aaron's actually running first right now. So the way I'd look at it right now is I'd see that big red, black, and silver boat behind Aaron right now, and I'd try to hold him off. Try to keep that 400.
Trying to keep Travis Johnson in the rearview mirrors, driving that 12. So we do have an official now. We do have the penalty on Jamie Nielsen. He appears to be running first, but he is not. But I'll tell you what, Travis Johnson is not going to go away. You talk about defending the position against Travis. Travis doesn't want to go away. He's sniffing 400 points here on the second of 3 times around the race course. And Aaron Salmon's going to have his hands full with that U12 Graham Trucking. And here comes Travis. He's making a move.
He's got a lot of speed there on the outside. He's actually closed down these past couple laps, but Aaron is pushing him out wide. So that should try to balance things out. We'll see who has the most speed coming out of this corner.
And look at Travis. He's going to try and hang right on the right side of that bright orange 440 Bucket List Racing. He's definitely closed ground. He's about 3 boat lengths back. Gets a little hip check there from Aaron Salmon. Lost a little bit of ground, but they'll come down to complete lap number 2. They'll look to the right. They'll see the white flag. 1 more lap to go. It is Aaron Salmon out in front by a couple of boat lengths. Second place, Travis Johnson. And now he's going to pull up very close to him on the third and final time around the course. Here we go again, Eddie. This is great boat racing.
Absolutely, and here comes Aaron pulling ahead a little bit. He got into the slop in the beginning of that corner, and I saw his boat get a little light there, but Travis swung wide, thinking maybe that Aaron was going to slide out there due to that slop, and that cost him a lot of ground.
It did cost him a lot of ground. He's now back about 4 or 5 boat lengths, but it looks like he's trying to make up a little bit of ground here again, and he is doing so. This is going to be really close. This final corner is going to determine who's going to win our first heat of racing here. It is the Southern Cup Guntersville Hydrofest, and it's a beauty so far. There is Salmon on the inside. There comes Travis on the outside. Both boats get kind of, well, I was going to say smooth through the corner, but then Aaron lost control a little bit, able to settle it down, and I think he's going to be able to hold him off. Going to be very, very close, but first place is going to go to Aaron Salmon in the 440 Bucket List Racing, but let me tell you, that was close, about a boat length only between those two. I think if we go another half lap, we might have had a different result. Eddie, that was fabulous.
That was a fantastic heat of racing. That was incredibly close. That was fun to watch. Aaron was doing everything he could do to try to hold off Travis, but Travis was not going to go away.
He was not going to go away. Third place goes to Trey Holt in the Goodman Real Estate of the U91. And we've got the camera there on Jamie Nielsen. In this form of racing, it is a 1-lap penalty if you start hitting buoys or chopping people off. So Jamie Nielsen is running his extra lap, make sure he gets scored. And that still is important, obviously, because as we mentioned at the outset, Eddie, this whole thing in the preliminary heats is all about getting points. It's just points, points, points. And then after everybody's run 3 times, we'll total them all up and put the top 6 on the front row of the final. So it's certainly not what he hoped to do, finishing in last place with the penalty, but at least he got some points, didn't come out of it with a goose egg.
Well, you know, I learned in Madison, Brad, that points are incredibly important and also incredibly hard to come by. But speaking of points, unfortunate Scott Przbilski DNF'd in that heat. After running 2 laps, he must have gone over on the outside. I didn't catch it during the heat, but he's not going to get any points for this, and that's big.
That there is exactly what we were talking about, and it helps Jamie Nielsen again because he doesn't get 5th place points. He now moves up a spot and gets 4th place points, and also, which may come into play, you see it right there on the screen, Jamie was our 2nd fastest qualifier, so he picked up 80 points during qualifying. So maybe not as bad as it looked initially. Jamie Nielsen's got a lot of speed. He just hit that one buoy. He'll be more careful next time out. Good racing, though. About as good as you can get in any form of racing when you got a boat length or 2 between first or second. That's good stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely how you want to start a race off. Set the tone for the weekend.
You bet. I'd like to take this opportunity while we get ready for our Heat 1B to thank some of our sponsors, the fine folks at Jesse's Stitches. They've been doing custom embroidery and more in Snohomish, Washington since 1990, and a name I think most good boat racing fans are aware of, especially in the Pacific Northwest. Atomic Screen Printing in Kennewick, Washington, a leading Northwest producer of high-quality screen printed and embroidered products since 1998. Thank you, Jesse Stitches and Atomic Screen Printing.
All right, Brad, we got Aaron Salmon here joining us for an interview after that heat win.
Hey guys,
Aaron, congratulations, young man. I say this all the time, but this is the old Bernie Little line. Before you can win them all, you got to win the first one. And you just had your hands full, but a great first heat win and 400 points.
Oh, yeah. I haven't played this game too heck of a lot, so I'm more than happy with that finish. And can't thank Kelly and Sharon enough for letting me run their boat. Also, thanks to Atomic and Jesse Stitches. Yeah, it's a good time.
Talk about that Travis Johnson guy. You had a lot of red in that right side rear view mirror, and he wasn't going to go away.
Oh yeah, I got Bo as a spotter, and he was just telling me he was there the whole time, just hanging in my rooster tail right on the outside. So just trying to run a clean line and take it easy.
It looked like maybe you were having a little issue handling the boat a couple of times in the corners. Was it getting away from you a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. The wakes that they entered into this game are crazy. It's pretty realistic, so it's trying to get used to playing with a controller, but still realistic scenarios. Definitely makes it a really good time.
Well, it was a great heat, a great way to start our racing today. Eddie, you got anything you want to add there with Mr. Salmon?
Well, just to talk about what he was just talking about, I was wondering, you have Jamie up there who was a lap down already after the score up. I want to know how much of those wakes did come into play there, because it definitely looked like he got out of shape and had to slam it back down a bit.
Yeah, there was a few times down the straightaways I just tried to give him his room and stay out of his wake, but entering the turn a few times, got a little tied up, and just glad I was able to keep it on the water.
Well, congratulations, young man. 400 points. It's all about getting points and finding your way into the final. We'll wait and see where you get drawn in the second heat, but go get something cold to drink and get ready to go. Thanks for the great show.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All right.
All right.
Mark, 5 minutes to our Heat 1B. Again, it is the Guntersville Hydrofest. It is the race for the Southern Cup. It's our second heat of racing here today. And we're going to have 4 boats in our Heat 1B, starting off with the powder blue and white, the U1, the Miss Home Street, driven by Jimmy Shane. Going to be joined on the race course by the bright red Spirit of Detroit U7, Bert Henderson out of Brockville, Ontario, Canada. Red, white, and blue, the patriotic hydroplane, the Graham Trucking American Dream U98. And the bright orange U99.9 bucket list Miss Rock Taylor Evans handling the driving chores of that boat today. But that's a boat you know very, very well. Eddie Canfouche, talk a little bit about that 99.9. It's a fast one.
For sure. And I may or may not have been helping Taylor out a bit these past couple weeks getting him prepared for this. So hopefully he can put on a good show here.
I made the comment to Scott Rainey a couple of weeks ago when we were calling some of these races. Partisanship is okay here when we're calling the boat, so you can go ahead and root for your buddy there. There we're looking at the U98 Graham Trucking American Dream, Corey Peabody out of Kent, Washington. A throwback color scheme and paint scheme, if you will, all the way back to 1998 when Rob Graham first took over sponsorship of that particular hull for Fred Leland. And the boat was painted up with the stars and stripes. It stuck. Everybody likes it. Red, white, and blue, U98, Graham Trucking American Dream. There's Bert Henderson driving the U7 Spirit of Detroit. The bright red, very similar to that of the U12 that we saw, the Graham Trucking in the previous heat, but this one's got more red, doesn't have the black and silver on it, instead trimmed a little bit with white and blue. It's the Spirit of Detroit, Bert Henderson, handling the driving chores of that one. Watching our boat go down toward the lower corner, that was the 7. Looks like we
don't know if you were able to see that on the stream there, Brad, but we just had Jimmy Shane. He was doing some S curves, kind of reminiscent of J. Michael Kelly or Andrew Tate, trying to slow the boat down a bit.
Slow the boat down and scruff off some of that clock. Oh, gosh. Yes, we remember that. And speaking of the 99.9, and a boat you know very, very well, there it is on the race course, following up behind a couple of other boats that seem to be crisscrossing in front of him. It can get a little bit busy during the milling period, but Taylor Evans seems to be handling it well. Looks like maybe he did get some help from one fast Eddie Canfouche here.
We'd like to think we prepared him for all these scenarios, but you never know what's going to happen, so we'll see how he can respond to them. But a lot of the boat, like, Jimmy's definitely got a lot of practice, too. He's been on the past few days practicing. I haven't seen much of Corey or Bert, but I've seen them running earlier today, and they're pretty quick, too. So.
Okay, so we've got an issue going here with a little computer glitch going on. You see a white boat down there at the lower end of the race course. That is the Home Street Bank. It's a computer glitch. Instead of the blue and white of the Home Street, it is going to be white. So there is the 98. That's Corey Peabody driving the Graham Trucking American Dream. Looks like we're coming up on about 20 seconds until our 1 minute mark. Again, the boats cannot go past the exit buoy of turn 1 prior to the 1 minute mark. Inside 20 seconds. Here comes Taylor Evans down the front straightaway. He's going to pull up behind the field, going slow through the corner. He's going to take some more speed to the outside. Inside 10 seconds. Shane right now is in 1, but keep an eye on Taylor Evans on the outside. Is he going to leapfrog? 2, 1, mark. I think they were legal at the 1 minute. There goes Shane. He goes flying by on the inside. Again, that's the white boat, not the blue one. And Shane is up the backstretch driving the all white for right now. Miss Home Street, Taylor Evans is going to be just to his right in lane number 2. I thought, Eddie, that maybe Taylor was going to have a chance at leapfrogging Jimmy Shane, but Jimmy was not asleep at the switch. That was not going to happen.
No, looking at Taylor entering that corner, I was thinking back. My marks for trying to hit it flying there was about 10 or 11 seconds, and he got there at about 13, so I thought he was going to have to back off there, and it looks like he did. So, and
yeah,
it looks to me like Corey Peabody just hit a buoy down the backstretch.
And that's going to be a penalty. There's Corey coming into the screen behind the field. So lane 1 is going to be Shane. Lane 2 is going to be Evans. And then it is going to be Bert Henderson on the outside. And we are 3 seconds, 2, 1, mark. And we are racing. It appears to be a clean start. Jimmy Shane nailed it. Boy, doesn't that sound familiar. Shane appears to have nailed the start in the U1, the home street. He is going to get down to the lower corner first, but he's got a lot of company on his outside, Eddie. He's not down there alone. He's got boats coming up behind him on the right side.
Well, he nailed that start in lane 1, and he had Bert in lane 3 out there who also hit a really good one. Taylor was a little later than he probably wanted to be, but he's still hanging out there too, right now in second.
I was really impressed with Taylor through the corner. He stayed right on Jimmy's hip when they went through that lower corner. Look at him. He is just tucked right in there on the right side of Jimmy Shane. Now look at him hang real close to him through the corner. I don't know if you worked with this kid on how to get through the corner, but he's doing a fine job here driving at 99.9. It is the bucket list Miss Rock. It is Taylor Evans, and he's trying to run down one of the biggest names in the sport. Jimmy Shane, and the Miss Home Street. 1 in the book, 2 more to go. Jimmy so far holding him off, Eddie. It doesn't seem to be changing the distance. Evans, I don't see him cutting into that lead, but boy, if Jimmy makes a mistake, he's going to be right there.
Absolutely. One of the things about being fast in this game is you have to hug the rooster tails pretty tight, which kind of bit me in the first heat in Madison, if you can remember. But it's what you got to do when all the boats are the same. But I noticed at that front stretch, Taylor was actually gaining on Jimmy there until a wake kind of crossed his path, and he had to lift a little bit. But he definitely had some straightaway speed down that front stretch.
And speaking of some straightaway speed, Jimmy's got it up the backstretch. But I'll tell you what, Taylor, just like we saw in the previous heat, he's not going to go away. And there it is again, Eddie, at the top end of the chute. He seems to close a little bit. There is some top-end speed in that 99.9. And look at him there. He's only, when they get to the exit pin of the corner, he's only about 3 or 4 boat lengths behind. Now he backs off a little bit. See if he can close it down again on the long straightaway here. Again, a 2.5-mile race course here at the Guntersville Hydrofest on this big body of water. But it is a fast body of water. They call it the South's fastest water. And right now, Taylor Evans is trying to prove it by running down Jimmy Shane. There he is, right with him again. Really impressed with how he's handling that bright orange boat in the corner.
He's doing a great job right now, and I'm definitely seeing it looks like he has more straightaway speed on that outside, but Jimmy's got the inside lane position. It also looks like Jimmy's kind of take them wide, probably to try to avoid the wakes on the inside. Clean water is everything in this game. So if you can find a place to run there, it's huge.
Just like it is in real racing. Clean water is everything. And look at him. Taylor just, as you said, hang right on the edge of that rooster tail. This is the final turn on the final lap of our Heat 1B at the Guntersville Hydrofest, the race for the Southern Cup. Jimmy Shane in position to pick up 400 first place points, and then a very hard-earned 300 points to the 99.9 bucket list Miss Rock. Taylor Evans, a great run, and he has shown everybody he is not afraid to go out there and hook up with someone and stay right behind him. We should have a penalty on the 98, the Graham Trucking American Dream, for hitting a buoy just before the start. So we'll check on that. And did we lose? There's Bert. Here comes Bert off the top end of the race course. He will come down. I believe he will pick up 3rd place points, and it will be Corey Peabody coming home in 4th. We'll check the official scoreboard. But again, 2 heats of racing, 2 very, very competitive heats. This is good stuff, Eddie.
Yeah, this is good racing so far. Hopefully it's living up to expectations, and hopefully those out in the Brick and Jefferson's at the watch party are having fun.
I hope they are having fun. I'm aware of some other watch parties that are going on across the country here. We've got some in Oklahoma City, got some new fans watching there. Welcome to virtual hydroplane racing. If you think this is cool, you got to come see the real McCoy. It's something special. Boats are finding their way back to the pit area here, and we'll hopefully get a chance to speak with our Heat 1B winner. That would be Jimmy Shane. I seem to talk to that guy a lot during the summer months, and it looks like maybe we have Jimmy in the announcer's booth now. Jimmy, can you hear me? They got Brad Luce here and Eddie Canfouche. We'll wait for Jimmy to catch in here and join us. Jimmy, can you hear me? I think he popped off again.
Looks like
we had him.
Oh, he's back.
He's jumping in. He's jumping out. Jimmy, if you can hear us, say hello.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There we go. We got him. So you got Brad Luce and Eddie Canfouche here. You know, you start off the weekend, 400 points in the first heat of racing. It's a good way to start.
Yeah, what a nice start. I've had a lot of help the past few days here getting prepared for this event. My good buddy Kelsey Best, who won the Gold Cup in Madison on the actual E-League race. It was really nice to have his help, and I've been slowly getting a hang of this. This is much harder than driving the real boat. But we worked on it, and the Miss Home Street had a great run there in the first heat. We were on our timing marks, and we stuck to everything. And great showing. So happy to be racing, even in this atmosphere this weekend. I really miss it. So I'm happy that the fans in Guntersville. I want to say hi to all the people at the Brick in Guntersville and the people at Jefferson's in Albertville. Just want to let you guys know how much we support you. And we appreciate you guys tuning in and watching us race. So this is amazing for us. And just happy I get to spend a weekend with you guys. So thanks to Jesse Stitches, thanks to Atomic Screen Printing, obviously Home Street Bank and Madison, Indiana. Got to say hi to my biggest fan base, and what a great run to start the weekend off.
Well, I got to ask you something before I turn it over to Mr. Canfouche here, but I'm looking at the screen. I'm looking at your qualifying speed. And you mentioned this is harder to drive than a real boat. You turned in a 160.1. If memory serves me right, I think it was a 163 on the real boat. So, yeah, it must be a little difficult.
It's much difficult than the real boat. So oh, sorry. I'm waking my son up right now.
Yeah, I think that's your biggest fan base right there.
Hudson's in the background. You're too loud, Dad. Which is a very unique way to race too. This is pretty cool. Having my kids watch from behind. So it's these boats are very hard. The controls are very finicky. And obviously, I've been racing the real boats for 25 years and 13 years in the actual unlimited boats, and I have a pretty good feel for driving one of the real boats. But this is all brand new to me, so it's a new challenge.
Well, I'll tell you, it's an awful lot of fun. I'm gonna turn it over to Eddie Canfouche. Eddie, I got a question there for Jimmy.
I do. So that was a really good run, Jimmy. I'm wondering, I was noticing since you had a rear view mirror full of Tennessee Orange and Taylor Evans there, it looked like you were kind of pushing him wide there. I'm wondering, were you trying to push him wide to keep him away, or were you trying to avoid some rough water on the inside?
No. I would never push anybody wide on the race course. That's not the way that I race. But yeah, of course I was pushing them wide. That's the whole point of getting out in front and being able to control the race course. It's a huge advantage. So I was doing my best. You can tell he was running faster laps than I was. So I was just trying to hold him off. That was the biggest thing.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Shane. It was a great race. We've had 2 heats of competition. I don't know that we could ask for him to be much better. You guys are doing a terrific job. Good luck down the road later on today, and maybe we'll be talking to you again. Jimmy, thank you, son.
Thanks so much. I hope to be talking to you a lot today.
Jimmy Shane, mark him down for 400 points in our Heat 2A. And before we go to our draw, let's go to a commercial break, and then we'll find out who's going to be running in our Heats 2A and B. Thank you very much for that. And like to, again, before we go to our draw, we'd like to thank once again our sponsors for today's racing. Atomic Screen Printing from Kennewick, Washington, a leading Northwest producer of high-quality screen printed and embroidered products since 1998. And speaking of embroidery, custom embroidery from Jesse's Stitches, and they do custom embroidery and much more. They've been in Snohomish, Washington since 1990. And a word about H1 Unlimited. They are a very proud club of the American Powerboat Association, the national authority for boat racing in the United States. The APBA is a member-driven organization established in 1903 and is headquartered in East Point, Michigan. For more information on the American Powerboat Association, go to www.apba.org. Again, www.apba.org. We thank our sponsors very much for their participation today. Without them, it doesn't happen, but it is happening, and it's time to get on with heats 2A and 2B. And for the draw, let's invite in Brian Perkins.
Hey everybody, welcome to North Bend. We are here for the draw of heats 2A and 2B. Got my Moscow Mule mug here, and all the boats are in it, so let's see what the draw is going to be. All right, heat 2A is going to be the U98. Heat 2A. Heat 2B, U91. Heat 2B. Heat 2A is going to be the U1. Heat 2B, U9. Heat 2A, U99.9. Heat 2B, U7. Heat 2A, U12. Heat 2B, U440. Heat 2A, U11. That will do it for the second set of heats today. Exciting day so far. We can't wait to see how it's going to end up. This is pretty awesome to be able to get some live boat racing. So we'll send it back to you guys, and it's going to be barn burner. Thanks.
Thank you, Brian Perkins, for handling the draw duties for our Heat 2A and Heat 2B. And we've got a good one lined up this time. Look at this draw that we've got coming up in our Heat 2A. Jimmy Shane, who just won our last heat, is going to be back out on the water, and he's going to run against Travis Johnson in the 12. And once again, we're going to see Taylor Evans out there in that 99.9. He and Jimmy just put on a terrific show in our Heat 1B, and they're going to be joined on the water by Corey Peabody in the 98 Graham Trucking American Dream, and the J&Ds with Jamie Nielsen. Jamie, the boat ran beautifully in our first heat of the day. He just unfortunately kissed a buoy up the backstretch during the 1 minute period and was assessed a 1 minute penalty. I'm looking for more good racing, Eddie.
For sure. This next heat's shaping up to be a really good one. I'm liking the draw here, because you got Jimmy and Taylor, who just put on a great show. You got Travis, who had a great heat in the first one, and then you throw Jamie in there, who, without hitting that buoy in the middle, he wins that first heat. So,
yep, and he hit the buoy. Corey Peabody hit the buoy. So we got our two buoy tenders that are coming in this one. So they're going to look to race clean. This should be a good one. It's Heat 2A. It's the Guntersville Hydrofest, the race for the Southern Cup. And we are 2 seconds, 1 mark, and we are inside 5 minutes. 5 minutes to the start of our Heat 2A. We'll have 5 boats on the water. The 1, the 11, the 12, the 98, and the 99.9. I count 5 boats coming away from the dock. And Jimmy Shane, you see his boat no longer all white. He didn't take very long, but the color scheme is back, and we have the powder blue and white home street. You are on board with Jimmy Shane, our third fastest qualifier for this particular event, and a 400-point getter in our last heat. There's the U12, the Graham Trucking, Travis Johnson handling the driving duties of that boat as he comes across the lake. and we'll find the race course and then get into his start sequence. Joined right there by Jamie Nielsen in the Chartreuse and Carnival Orange, the J&D's U11. He's found the race course, and he will start moving around and getting himself into position. Going to be joined on the race course by the 98. That is the Graham Trucking American Dream. If that camera was a little bit further back, you'd see the red and white stripes. Trust me, it is red, white, and blue. You can't miss it. There it is right there. Great job by the camera crew there to pull in and show that color scheme. And rounding out our field is a whole bunch of Tennessee Orange, Bucket List, Miss Rock. Taylor Evans drove the daylights out of that boat in our last heat that we had out on the water. And I looked for him to put on another good show here in Heat 2A. Dare to go out on a limb on this one, Eddie, and pick a winner?
I don't know if I can. It's so even. It's tough.
Well, that's the good thing about this. There is so much parity, and I was a little concerned about what we might see here with these drivers, but we're listening to them all talk about how they've had help, and you've alluded to giving some help here, and clearly you guys not only are good at driving these things, you're pretty good about giving directions and helping others out, because I'm really impressed. I have tried to drive one of these and had my son try and assist me, with the operative word being try. I'll stay on this side of the microphone. Trust me, there's a causeway down there that I'm sure I would find myself into if I got behind the wheel. So, but it's good. This is very, very good stuff. And look at Jimmy. He's going to just go down to the lower end of the course, but look who's down there ahead of him. Look who's down there, Taylor Evans in the 99.9. He says, all right, Jimmy, I took a second to you sitting on your outside. Let's see if you can drive around me. This might be really good. But keep an eye on Jimmy. He's starting to put the foot down a little bit. He may jump around Taylor Evans down there at the lower end of the race course. Here comes Nielsen. We'll see what he's going to do. We still have 2 minutes and 30 seconds until the start, 2:30. And remember, you can't go by the exit pin of the lower corner before the 1 minute mark. So we'll keep an eye on our clock.
Oh, here comes Jamie.
Look at Jamie, and we see that Jimmy Shane did do a leapfrog there on Taylor Evans. He jumped to the inside, but look at Nielsen. And look at Shane. He's now back there. Here comes Corey on the outside. We're inside 40 seconds until the 1 minute mark. Going to have to keep an eye on Travis. He's already around the corner, about halfway through. He was up at the top end of the race course. He's going to come on down here in behind the field. This is going to be an interesting start sequence. We may have some of our better racing, just again, like we do in real racing, to see who can get that inside lane. And clearly, these drivers are learning how to handle this park and start. Eddie, they're catching on.
Oh, yeah, I know some of them have taken marks for it, but I know not everyone's a fan of the park and start, but right now, what we just saw was some classic leapfrogging there.
4, 3, 2, 1. Mark. Unfortunately, Corey Peabody got up there very, very early and didn't have any speed when it got to the 1 minute mark. The other guys did. They left him behind. And up the backstretch here, the score up was legal at the 1 minute buoy. And this is going to be very, very good, because Taylor Evans is going to be outside Jimmy Shane again. But Jamie Nielsen, not afraid to go back to that inside line. He hit the buoy the last time he was on that inside lane, but Eddie, he's not afraid to go back up there and get it again, and he's got himself in lane 1, and he owns it now.
That's what you got to do. You got to get lane 1. It's the fastest way around the race course, and it gives you the best shot at winning. But this should be really interesting. You got Jamie in 1, who's fast. Jimmy just ran a great heat. He's in 2. You got Taylor, who just was trying to run Jimmy down. He's in 3. And you got Travis in 4, too, who's also very fast. So this is shaping up to be a really good one.
It's a really good heat. We're inside 10 seconds. It's a pretty good run. It's about 10 seconds off the exit pin of this corner down to the start finish. This is going to be a gorgeous start. Way out in front is Jimmy Shane as the clock strikes 0, and he is apparently over. He has jumped the gun. Oh, my. So Jimmy appears to be leading, but he is in 5th place. He is a lap down. So watch the racing in the rearview mirror. Now it's Jamie Nielsen on the inside. Don't hit the buoy, Jamie. He got very close, but he squared it up, and he is your leader. He appears to be in 2nd place behind Shane, but he is your leader after Jimmy jumped the clock. And now it's going to be tough for Taylor Evans, because not only is he outside Jamie Nielsen, Eddie, but he's also running in the wake on the outside of Jimmy Shane.
Yeah, he is, and it looked to me like in that last corner that Jamie might have tapped the buoy a bit, but didn't dislodge it. So he got real close there, and he's sliding out now.
He's getting wet in there now. Hang on to it, Jamie. And he did, and he just said go outside. But this Taylor jumped to the inside now.
There he is.
Really good racing here. They come down to put lap number 1 of 3 in the books. It is Nielsen with the lead, but in his left side rear view mirror, he's got Taylor Evans. In his right side mirror, he's got Travis Johnson. This is really good stuff. And the wild card in this whole thing is Jimmy Shane, who's a lap down, but he's right out in front of these guys causing all kinds of havoc.
Well, yeah, they're 3 wide right now, and that's crazy to be 3 wide like halfway through the race, but Jimmy's really making it interesting up there because he's not letting off and letting them go. He's making it tough for him.
He certainly is. So our leader appears to be the U1 Home Street, but it is not. He is a lap down, having jumped the gun. Taylor Evans driving the Tennessee Orange, the CarStar powered Miss Rock. Bucket List Miss Rock, he is your leader, but on the outside of those 2 boats you see right there is Travis Johnson driving the 12, driving the Graham Trucking. He is your second place boat. Trying to run down Nielsen. Nielsen has moved to the outside, and Taylor Evans is stayed on the inside. When Jamie went wide, Taylor was able to move to the inside, and now he's pulling up closer to Jimmy Shane. I'm sure he'd love to get ahead of him and not have to deal with him anymore. Down to the lower corner on a third of 3 times around the course. Another real good one here, Eddie. This is great racing.
It's fantastic racing. It looks like Taylor's kind of starting to break away now, but look at the battle. It looks like Travis has jumped to the inside now to try to get by Jamie.
Really good racing up in front, good racing in the back of the pack. This is really good stuff, but there's the race you were just speaking of. Travis has moved a little bit to the inside to try and run down Jamie in there, but there's a lot of water in there and a lot of wake he's going to have to run through. That's going to be a tall order. So coming off the top end of the race course to come down and pick up a checkered flag, our second boat off the turn is Taylor Evans, the Bucket List Miss Rock. He is going to be the winner here of our Heat 2A. The boat out front, Jimmy Shane, jumped the gun. He will go an extra lap. So look for the white buoy to go by. That'll be the start-finish line buoy. I believe that's it right there. Checkered flag for Taylor Evans and Bucket List Miss Rock. Second place is going to go to Jamie Nielsen in the J&Ds, the U11. Third place will go to the U12, Graham Trucking, Travis Johnson. Fourth place should go to Corey Peabody. There he is, driving the 98 Graham Trucking American Dream. And after he completes a penalty lap here, if you will, Jimmy Shane, who's not very happy with himself right now, is going to come home in 5th place. So he had first place in our Heat 1B. He drops to 5th in this one because he got a little greedy. And you heard Jimmy talking about his timing marks in the last heat and how he was right on them. He must have missed one on that one.
Oh, it looks like Corey might have gone over a bit, and I think Jimmy passed him. I think Jimmy's going to finish 4th.
I think he did too. I think he did as well. So here comes Mr. Shane down the front straightaway. Watch for the white buoy. And there he goes. He will come home, and that will be a 4th place finish. And then Corey, and this is what we talked about at the beginning. If there is a reset of the boat, if somebody does crash and loses the boat, it will reset itself, and they are allowed to come back down and finish. So we're going to assume a 5th place finish for Corey Peabody in the Graham Trucking.
Looks like it.
Wow. Another one.
That heat was awesome. Great racing throughout the whole thing.
That was really, really good stuff. Now, 400 points, Bucket List, Miss Rock. That's a first and a second and the top qualifier. I'd say for Taylor Evans, so far, pretty good day.
Great day for Taylor so far. I'm sure he's hoping he can keep that up and try to bring a win home for the Stocklands and Bucket List Racing.
And if I know the Stocklands, I know they had a watch party going on a couple of weeks ago. Wouldn't be surprised if the folks up there are all gathered around and having a party. And at least we're doing some virtual racing here. We can't do the real McCoy, but let's do some virtual racing. It is fun. We hope you enjoy it. All right, so Taylor, I think, is with us. Taylor, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey, man, I was just commenting to Eddie here that I'm looking at the scorecard here. You got a first place now, you got a second place, and you were top qualifier. You got 800 points. You got to be feeling pretty good.
Things are looking really good. I mean, things are looking really good for the 99.9, and things are looking good for the 440. I'm sure Kelly and Sharon are really happy with how we're doing here. Yeah, and I that was a wild heat. The people at the Brick in Guntersville and Jefferson's and Albertville, I'm hoping they're loving it, because that was a lot of fun. I got to hand it to Bo for getting me in the right spot there too. So
Well, I got to tell you, you didn't start that heat on the inside lane, but all of a sudden, Jamie seemed to slide out a little bit wide. I think it was the top end of the course on lap number 2. You saw the door open, snuck to the inside. Next thing you know, you're out front. You're home with 400 points.
yeah, that that was a little bit of a blessing there, and pretty happy about that. Like I said, Bo got me into a good spot there with cutting in, and the toughest part was knowing that, okay, Jimmy jumped, so I got to not race him and just keep it clean and keep it on the water and make sure that I beat Jamie. But that was a fun race.
Well, it must have been fun from where you are. It was a lot of fun from where we are sitting. And to your point, we hope those watch parties going on down by Guntersville, we hope everybody's enjoying themselves. Good stuff. Eddie, you got something you want to toss at the young man?
I mean, I don't really have much. That was just a really impressive heat, Taylor. I'm not going to take full credit for it, but we got some practice in.
I was trying not to be controversial, but Eddie helped me out quite a bit there. So I appreciate the practice over the last few days.
Of course. I definitely really liked that move of jumping to the inside there when Jamie pushed out. That definitely gave you a huge advantage because you could move to the buoy line.
Yep. Well, sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. And that time it worked.
Oh, I know.
Brad here again, I got to throw something out because Taylor, you're about the third or fourth person we've talked to today who's talking about all the practice they did and the help that you got from others and so forth. You guys are just competitive by nature, right? I mean, if you're going to get involved in something, you're not going to go at it and just halfway. You're going to go jump in with both feet and try and win this thing, right?
Oh, absolutely. The second I found out that I was going to be, a part of this, I shacked up with Eddie and Bo and a lot of the guys that were doing the E-League, and they've been helping me out tremendously and giving me some practice heats and stuff like that. And we go out with a plan thinking that we're going to keep it all clean, but the second you get on the water, you want to go and win. So yes, definitely competitive.
Well, congratulations. It was a great watch. It must have been a great drive. So far, so good, but I know the heat you really want to win is going to come up a little bit later on in the day. So go take a break, catch your breath. We'll see you further on down the road.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Taylor Evans. And he's talking about Bo. He's talking about Bo Rerig, who drives the 440 in the E-League Racing Series. You take pointers from wherever you can get them, and when all these guys start talking, they're really good. So obviously these drivers are listening. Pretty good stuff.
Well, most of the drivers here have their spotters, which is just their equivalent in the E-League. So like Bert, he has DJ Miller spotting for him, and so I'm sure they're getting pointers from those guys. And like I know Taylor and Bo sat down and got a bunch of timing marks a few days ago. So
that's great stuff. Great stuff. Well, we're about ready to go racing here in our Heat 2B. Before we do, we'll take the opportunity just to one more time mention our sponsors, the American Powerboat Association out of East Point, Michigan. For more information on the APBA, go to www.apba.org. We do not run without the American Powerboat Association. Jesse Stitches in Snohomish, been there since 1990, doing custom embroidery and more. And of course, the good folks at Atomic Screen Printing, a Northwest producer of high-quality screen printed and embroidered products since 1998. Eddie, you know this. We all know it. We don't race without sponsors. So good to have them on board. We thank them. Let's go racing. Heat 2B is on deck.
All right.
So we're monitoring the official radio right now. We'll get the countdown to our start. And we are inside 5 minutes. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4. H1 Unlimited virtual hydroplanes coming out on the race course. We are expecting the U7 Spirit of Detroit, the 9 Delta Real Track. That'll be the white boat, Goodman Real Estate. The 91, Trey Holt behind the wheel of that one, and some more orange, the 440 Bucket List Racing. There is the U91 Goodman Real Estate. We'll pick them out as they come across the water here. There's the orange of the 440 Bucket List, and on the left you've got the 91 of the Goodman Real Estate, Trey Holt out of Madison, Indiana, as the boats make that long run across beautiful Lake Guntersville. And again, if you have not been to one of the 2 Southern Cup races that they've had down there, this is the 3rd. If you have not been there before and you're looking to go to an H1 Unlimited event on the road somewhere and you don't live in that area, put that one on your list and find your way down there. You will not be sorry that you did. And if you live in the greater Guntersville area, come on down next summer in June. I promise you will not be disappointed. We will put on a good show. Katie Norton and her crew have learned very quickly how to put on a very, very good hydroplane race as we look at the 91. Goodman Real Estate. Trey Holt, he's out of Madison, Indiana. One of our 4 boats here in our Heat 2B. Beautiful boat there. New sponsorship here for 2020. We're very glad to have them on board. There is the white trimmed in fluorescent orange and yellow. That would be the Delta Rail Track U9 with Scott Przybylski handling the driving duties. He's handled an awful lot. He is the creator of this particular game, so he knows it very, very well. But you're seeing he's finding even he has his hands full going against some of these guys. Here's Aaron Salmon driving the Bucket List Racing 2, the 440. He will come down the front straightaway. Easy to tell which straightaway you're on here in Guntersville. If you've got that shoreline there on the right, that is the front straightaway. You go up the back chutes, which Aaron Salmon is going to do right now. You'll see that shoreline goes away because it's a long way across that big body of water. Looking at our clock here, about 2 minutes and 30 seconds until our start. Bert Henderson here. We are on board with the 7, Spirit of Detroit. Bert Henderson from Brockville, Ontario, Canada. As he goes down toward the lower end of the race course, went by Trey Holt in the 91, Goodman Real Estate. And I wasn't sure we'd see much of this park and start stuff, Eddie. I'm kind of surprised with these guys, but they all seem to be catching on to it, and more of them are doing it. I think they're going to have to if they want to get on that inside lane.
No, I'm not surprised. Racer's mentality, you got to do what you got to do to get lane 1 and win the race, and if you got to park, you got to park. So that's what they're going to do.
I like it. And we're right back to what I said earlier. These guys are competitive. If that's what it takes to win, well, then that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. All right, checking the clock here, about 40 seconds. And we got our trollers coming down. I believe that is Trey Holt on the inside. And I think that's Aaron Salmon coming up behind him on the outside, appears to be. So we'll keep an eye on them. Oh, yeah. It's Bert down there on the inside. He is the lead boat there, or the boat between the 2 there. So
here
now everybody here
Trey
comes
on the outside. I'd look for the leapfrog here, maybe.
He could do it.
I don't know. Looks like the other 2 boats on the inside might have gotten on it quick enough to try to prevent that.
Prevented that. So it looks like Bert's going to be in 1, at least right now. Remember, they can change lanes going up the backstretch. We'll get a countdown here. We're inside 10 seconds. We are 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. And it was a clean score up as they come off of the corner. There they go by the exit pin right there. We'll see if Aaron Salmon wants to do anything fancy here and maybe try and move to the left, but Bert's not going to let him do that. You've got to have a full 5 boat lengths and overlap of a full rooster tail to do that. Bert says, I worked hard for this inside lane. I'm going to protect it. And that's what he's doing up the backstretch, Eddie.
He protected his lane there, and what I'm wondering is something that has become very apparent racing with everyone in the E-League and all that is when you're defending your lane, you get up there pretty early, and it can throw you off your marks. I'm looking at Trey Holt here. When he knew he wasn't going to get overlap, he kind of hung back a bit. I'm looking to see maybe he makes a flying start here in lane 3.
Well, there he is. We're on board with him right now, and he is going to be in lane 3. We're inside 10 seconds until the start. We said it's about 10 seconds off the buoy road down to the start-finish line. You see the white buoy coming up. It's going to be close. 2 seconds, 1 mark. And it looked good from here. We'll get an official in our ear from the officials, but it looks like Bert Henderson nailed it, and so did Trey Holt, but he was back a little bit. Great start on the inside. Bert Henderson, young man out of Brockville, Ontario. He wired that one, Eddie, and it's all about he's at a great start sitting in lane 1.
That was an awesome start. He was right on the buoys, right at 0 in lane 1. You can't get much better than that.
I thought he was up there a little bit early and had to back off, but he did just briefly. Then he was able to get back on it, and you see the results up the backstretch. He's got more than a rooster tail on the second place boat, which is Aaron Salmon driving a 440. And look at on the far outside, we've got Scott Przybylski in the 9 coming up on the far outside, but you've got a boat in between them. This is very close racing back in the pack. Off the top end of the race course, our leader coming down to put one in the book, Bert Henderson driving the 7. You see the lead there. He's got over a full rooster tail on Aaron Salmon. I think some of the better racing is back in the pack. Przybylski driving the 9. He's got his sights set on Aaron Salmon. He's coming hard, and he's really flying the boat, Eddie.
Yeah, he is, and it looks like Trey was back there, and it looked like in that last corner he had a bit of trouble due to the wakes there, and it kind of got him loose, and he's falling back a bit. But that battle for second's still going.
That battle for second's going to be a good one right now. If Bert can just hold it together, he's halfway through. He's a lap and a half in with a lap and a half to go. And you are on board right now with Scott Przybylski driving the 9 at Delta Rail Track. Right off to his left and now trailing by a couple of boat lengths is Aaron Salmon at a Bucket List Racing. So Przybylski has been able to get by Salmon, but he's on the far outside. Watch Aaron through the corner. Good job in the corner holding his lane. That was a great job through the corner there by Salmon. A perfect line through. And you see he was able to actually catch up with, and for the moment at least, he was able to get by Przybylski. Great job of driving by Aaron Salmon on that inside lane of Scott Przybylski.
Oh, man, Scott's airing it out, though. He's pulled it to about a half a rooster tail now down that straightaway because he had momentum on the outside. He was able to carry more speed out of the corner.
The third of 3 times around. And again, look at Salmon. Hold his line through the corner. Stayed just outside the wake of our leader, Bert Henderson. He closed up to within a boat length. But Przybylski has shown an awful lot of straightaway speed here, and he starts to draw it away a little bit from Salmon in the 440 Bucket List Racing. You see up ahead of them the white wall of water. That is the rooster tail of Bert Henderson, the U7 Spirit of Detroit. All he's got to do is find his way around the top end of the race course cleanly one more time, and he will come down and pick up first place points, 400, and they're huge here in our Heat 2B. So it's all Henderson, but now we're going to switch back. He will pick up the points. Second place looks like it's going to go to Przybylski. He's going to hold off a hard charging Aaron Salmon on the inside, driving that Bucket List Racing. Great run for Przybylski. He ran down Aaron, and he did it on the outside, Eddie. That's a tall order.
That was a great run from Scott, and it was a great run from Aaron, too. I know he hasn't gotten too much practice on the game, but he's done a great job so far, and that was a good run. He held it tight to that wake, and that's what he had to do.
And we had, unfortunately, our Trey Holt. It was after the finish, but he managed to put the 91 Goodman Real Estate upside down. Pretty spectacular for the fans and the footage here, but that boat will be ready to go in our third section, and the officials ruled that he had already finished, so he picks up his 4th place points. Wow, first place, Bert Henderson nailed the start. Whatever timing marks he's got, I think we ought to ask him about hanging on to those. Bert, have we got you on here? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Brad.
Hey, it's good to talk to you. How you doing, my friend? I haven't talked to you for a while.
Bad. I know, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, you doing okay? Apparently you are.
Oh, yeah, today's shaping up to be a pretty good day. I got to thank DJ for that. I mean, he was awesome on the radio. So, yeah, and I you know what? I got to thank Katie and the Guntersville group for putting on such a fine event, and our sponsors, Jesse Stitches and Atomic. So, yeah, this is just awesome to be part of.
Well, I want to kind of dovetail a little bit on what you just said, because you've been down there for the Southern Cup, the real Southern Cup, and you've met Katie Norton and her crew. We were talking about it as you guys came out on the water. It really is a special venue, and the people down there are something special, aren't they?
You know, it is awesome. You know, like the Southern hospitality, I can't talk about it enough. You know, they did so much for us last year with the heat and all that. You know, like just and the people, it was just such an awesome place to be. I mean, I've never been to Alabama before, let alone Guntersville, and yeah, I'm just so impressed by the hard work and dedication that they have to this event. So, you know, I'm super excited for 2021.
Well, one of the comments I made just as you were picking up the microphone here and coming in to join us with regards to that last heat you just ran in 2B, you picked up the first place finish. And I was telling Eddie Canfouche here, I said, well, I think we ought to ask Bert that whatever timing marks you had, I think I'd hang on to those. You nailed that start.
Oh, thanks. You know, like, fortunately, I've got, you know, some good people behind me. You know, Trevor Cook here, who brought his gaming stuff out to my house, and you know, he's gave me some pointers in practice, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You guys are a competitive lot, aren't you? Eddie, you got something for the young man?
That start was awesome, and also like the park and start, you nailed that 1 minute pin too on the inside and defended your lane there. That was just a really, really good heat there.
My hands were sweating. I think my feet were too, because like it was just like, it's almost like you're in the heat. You're just putting yourself right there. It's such a cool, and I got a hats off to Scott for putting out such a great game. With the realism, with the waves and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. It's just awesome.
We had Jimmy Shane on here after he won the previous heat, and he said, let me tell you, driving this thing's a whole lot more difficult than driving the real boat. You concur?
Yeah, it's like it's so different. We're used to one thing, and then you get into these things. It's just, like all the guys that race these week in, week out. Like they're pretty talented. I was proud of myself at 152 or 153, and then see these guys running 160s and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty. Hats off to them.
Well, it's been a terrific show, and we just look for more of it. We'll also look for more of you down the line. You got one more shot at points before the final. Thanks for taking the time to come up here and join us. We'll look for you in the third heat section.
Thanks, Brad.
You bet. Take care.
All right.
Bert Henderson, I want to just add on to something he said there, and I know we've talked an awful lot about Guntersville and the hospitality down there. I was reminded of an old saying that a friend of mine used to say with regards to Guntersville. Bert mentioned Southern hospitality, and the saying that I was reminded of, somebody made the comment, there's Southern hospitality, and then there's Guntersville hospitality, and it is a cut above. Great people. So, we're getting ready to go here. We're finding our way through our day, and next up on our list is our draw for Heat 3A and 3B. But before we do that, let's take a break and hear from some of our sponsors. And we're back again here at beautiful Lake Guntersville for the Guntersville Hydrofest Race for the Southern Cup. Want to take this opportunity one more time here to thank some of our other sponsors. Jesse Stitches, custom embroidery in Snohomish since 1990. Atomic Screen Printing from Kennewick, Washington. They have been a Northwest producer of high-quality screen printed and embroidered products since 1998. And as I've said a couple of times already today, we do not race without the American Powerboat Association, and H1 Unlimited is a proud club of the APBA, who is the national authority for boat racing in the United States. The APBA is a member-driven organization established in 1903. They are headquartered in East Point, Michigan. For more information on the American Powerboat Association, head over to www.apba.org. I mentioned the APBA is a member-driven organization. You don't have a boat, you don't drive, that's okay. You can still join the American Powerboat Association. apba.org, look them up and see what it's all about. So, Eddie, it is time to go racing again for 3A and 3B. But before we go racing, we got to find out who is going to compete in the A and B sections. And for that, let's turn it over to Dustin and Finley Eccles for the heat draw.
So we're here working on the little 440, getting ready for the season. Doesn't look like we're going to have much of a season this year, unfortunately. but we're really excited to watch the guys race on virtual racing on HydroSim. We're going to go this weekend and watch all the drivers race in the Invitational race. You can follow that at the H1 Unlimited website or on Facebook. We're going to draw the heats for 3A and 3B. So first one up is going to be heat 3A. Finley's going to draw the number here.
U11.
The 11. Excuse my penmanship. Heat B.
U99.9.
99.9.
The U98.
U98.
The U12.
The 12.
The U7. The 1.
The 1.
The 9.
The 9.
And of course the 440.
And a mighty 440. All right, good luck, guys. Have fun.
Well, thank you, Dustin and Finley Eccles, for our draws for our Heat 3A and 3B. There may be a little bit of confusion there on our Heat 3A. Let's run that one down real quick. It is going to feature the U7 with Bert Henderson, the Spirit of Detroit, the U9 Delta Rail Track with Scott Przybylski. Jamie Nielsen will join the field in the 11 J&Ds. And for confirmation here, the Goodman Real Estate U91, Trey Holt, who is a member of the Madison Racing Team crew. Trey Holt will drive the Goodman Real Estate U91 in our Heat 3A and be joined by Corey Peabody in the red, white, and blue U98 Graham Trucking American Dream. So pretty darn good racing so far. And as we were talking off air, Eddie Canfouche, we've run 4 heats of competition so far today. We've had 4 different winners. Doesn't get much better than that.
No, it doesn't. Just like in the first E-League race, I think we had, 7 winners out of 8 heats. So really close competition.
It is. And I wasn't really sure what we would get today with our competition, given these guys don't have the experience that the other group does. But then listening to them all talk, yeah, they haven't. This isn't the first time they picked up the controller at an hour before Heat 1A today. They've been working on it and getting pointers, and they're all very competitive. So it's been good. Let's see if we don't get a 5th winner in our next heat. It's Heat 3A, and it is on deck. All right, so we're just monitoring the official radio here, waiting for the countdown to come in our ear. Mark, there is our 5-minute mark. It is our Heat 3A of the Guntersville Hydrofest Race for the Southern Cup. We've got 2 heats to go before our final. This is the last opportunity for each of our teams to garner points. And I'll tell you what, there is 4 or 5 boats right now within 100 points of each other. So these finishes in these next 2 heats, they're going to be critical, Eddie. If you're going to make that final heat, you don't win this thing unless you're on the front row of the final. These next 2 heats are really going to be interesting and critical to who's going to win this overall event.
Pressure's on now. I felt that Madison having to win that last heat. If there's anyone in that scenario, I feel bad because it's a tough spot to be in.
Got the camera there zoomed right in on the U11, the J&Ds. That is Jamie Nielsen. He has found the race course with 4 minutes. Mark, 4 minutes until the start of our Heat 3A. Jamie Nielsen, he's driving the 11. There's Corey Peabody in the U98, the Graham Trucking American Dream. Corey Peabody hails from Kent, Washington, just up the street from where I am sitting right now. There's Bert Henderson. Just got done talking to Bert. He out of Brockville, Ontario, Canada, a boat builder by trade, but on the weekends, a mighty good hydroplane driver. He's driving the Spirit of Detroit, the U7. Also in the field, the U91 Goodman Real Estate, Trey Holt. He is out of Madison, Indiana. He a crew member of Miss Madison Racing. And you know hydroplane racing runs true and true through his blood, living back in the Midwest, specifically in Madison, Indiana.
All right, looking at this now, I'm hearing from the truck. And it sounds like some scenarios here. If Jamie Nielsen can finish second here, he will be in the final. Aaron Salmon needs a third here as well to make it to the final. And Bert needs a second as well. So there's a chance there that all three of them could end up in the final, depending on how this shakes out.
And if all three of them finish in second place, that ought to be interesting. What it means,
I don't know how that would quite work.
what it means is we're going to have some very good racing here. And there's the fourth boat, or the fifth boat, that we didn't get to talk about here doing our rundown. But it is the Delta Reel Track with Scott Przybylski behind the wheel. It is the U9. Andrew Tate's ride the last couple of years, and the winner of the first ever Southern Cup in 2018, as I mentioned earlier, in maybe, arguably, the greatest final heat ever run in unlimited hydroplane racing. There's Corey Peabody finding his way across the race course, doing some S-curves, scruffing off a little bit of speed. Still 2 minutes. 2 minutes until our start. We're going to keep an eye very closely on Jamie Nielsen and Bert Henderson. Both need a second place or better, find their way into that final. There's some other good boats out there. Trey Holt starting to get the feel of that 91 Goodman Real Estate. So glad to have those folks part of our racing, the Goodman Real Estate Group. John Goodman. And that is just a gorgeous color scheme on that boat. Trey's going to bring it down the front straightaway here, and he's going to get down to the lower corner. His spotter's going to tell him who's already down there. He goes to the left of Corey Peabody. There's Bert down there in the lower corner. Whoa, here we go. Jamie is in the inside. Look at this. Look at this. He went to the left.
Great move from Trey there.
Yes. And he
getting aggressive now.
Went to the left of Bert and then got into lane 2 right alongside Scott. Now we'll see how this plays out. This is really important. These guys are fighting for a slot on the front row of the final. We are 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2, 1. Mark. The score appears to be clean, and it is going to be Przybylski, I believe, sitting in lane number 1, or is that Nielsen that's got it?
That
Nielsen.
is Jamie.
Yeah, it's Nielsen up the backstretch. He had a problem there on the first heat of the day, but he's got it ironed out so far. Now, if his timing marks are right, Jamie could be in a real good position. Still got lots of time to kill before our start. Remember, it's about a 10-second run off the exit pin of the corner down to the start-finish line. Oh, you got to have different timing marks depending on what lane you're in, correct, Eddie?
Yeah, they don't change too much, actually, and the exit pin mark is basically the same for every lane, but that entrance pin mark, if you're trying to cue off of that, that definitely changes depending on the lane.
Is it about 10 seconds? Am I correct in saying that?
I think it's a little more than that. I think it's about 13, 12 and a half, maybe.
Well, they're inside 10 seconds now as they're going to come to the line. Who can wire it? Jamie's out in front of the group, but there's a lot of speed coming up on the outside. We are 3 seconds, 2, 1, mark. And it looks like Jamie has wired a beautiful start.
Another one.
Coming down to the lower corner, Jamie Nielsen on the inside. He got a beautiful start. And then just off to his right and behind him is Trey Holt driving the Goodman Real Estate. Then there's a lot of traffic behind him with the Spirit of Detroit, and Bert Henderson is in third place. And on the outside, it is Scott Przybylski in the Delta Reel Track. So right now you got Bert Henderson running in third place. He needs second place points. Really good racing down the backstretch, and there's a lot at stake here as we are on lap 1 of 3, Eddie. And look at Bert come on the outside, Eddie.
Don't know if you just saw the 9 just went over. It looks like he got into the rooster tail of the 7, but he's going to be out of it early.
Top end of the race course here. Bert now swinging out wide, giving up a little bit of ground here. He's got to fight and get himself into second place to make his way into the final. But Trey Holt knows that. If we know it, so does Trey, and Trey can keep him out of the final. If he can keep him on his right side rear view mirror. Trey has moved to the inside, coming down the front straightaway. We'll see if Jamie slams the door on him. I don't think he will, because he's got almost 2 full rooster tails. I think Jamie out front is just looking for clean water. Stay away from the buoys. And
Trey hit a buoy.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He hit a buoy, so boy, does that change things. All of a sudden, Mr. Henderson is our second place boat, because you're going to have a lap penalty on Trey Holt. That's going to drop him from where he is second place on the water, and it is going to put Bert Henderson in second. That word will get to Mr. Henderson in the cockpit. He knows he's just got to stay clean, stay in second place where he is right now, and he'll find his way on the front row of the final. You just never know, Eddie, what's going to happen. These things can change in a heartbeat.
About a rooster tail or two back, it looks like Corey Peabody's moved to the inside too, so he's still there. Bert's got to watch out for him too.
Yeah, he better look in his left side rearview mirror because Corey, yeah, there's Corey. He's going to find his way to the inside, try and sneak up on somebody. And we are on our lap number 3 of 3. You see Jamie through the lower corner, way out in front of everybody and way wide through the turn, staying away from any buoys. Everybody else is having to negotiate his wash through the corner, and Corey just hooked. Corey just right at the entrance pin, lost control of the 98. He went over. He is back up and running, but any thoughts he had of moving up a position went away at the entrance pin. Again, Eddie, it can happen in a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely, it can. Sometimes it'll get you, especially with that rough water. I know everyone that we've interviewed has talked about how rough those wakes are, and I can speak from experience. It is really tough. And that same thing that just happened to Corey is what bit me in the Guntersville E-League final. Is just too much rough water, hooks and rolls going into the corner.
Well, we made the comment before the heat started. Jamie Nielsen needed a second-place finish or better. Bert Henderson needed a second-place finish or better to get into the final heat. Bert picks up his second-place finish. Jamie Nielsen picks up a first-place finish. We believe both of them will advance to the finals. Here comes our third-place finisher, Corey Peabody, driving the 98. Graham Trucking American Dream. He will come down in his position, and then we also have Trey Holt in the Goodman Real Estate having clipped a buoy. He will run an extra lap. Boy, we talked about it before the heat. Who needed to do what? Mission accomplished, at least as far as Bert Henderson and Jamie Nielsen are concerned. They're going to be on the front row of the final.
As far as I know, yes, they will be on the front row of the final, and that's great. So we'll see the 11 and the 7. So this next heat will determine who joins them on the front line.
There's the old boat racing line. You got to be in it to win it. And it is definitely true in unlimited hydroplane racing, whether it is virtual or real. You've got to be in that final heat to win it. It is a winner-take-all final when we get there. And our preliminary heats have been 3 laps. Our final, we will go 5 times around. So as we've seen, anything can happen. It can look like somebody's got a big lead and it's over. And then things can go awry. So Trey Holt will turn the 91. Goodman Real Estate turn it for home. And I think we've got Jamie Nielsen with us. Mr. Nielsen, Brad Luce here, along with Eddie Canfouche. You got to feel good about that one. You wired a start and left everybody way behind you and got to just be careful on your laps.
Yeah, Brad, it did. It felt great. So I think we got the bugs out, got the mistakes out in our earlier heats, but steadily improving, and the final's what it's all about, right? So you can't win the race in the first heat, but we're ready for the final. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we always make that comment. You can't win the final heat in the preliminary heats, but you can sure lose it if you make a mistake. We had some numbers talked into our head as you guys went away from the dock. We had it that you and Bert Henderson needed each a second place finish or better to get on the front row of the final. Looked like you guys accomplished that mission.
Yeah, I got that word as well. So we weren't messing around there in that third heat. So we wanted the win just to make sure we're going to get in that final heat, and we'll let it all hang out there, hang out in the final.
I got Mr. Canfouche here with me. Eddie, you got something you want to toss at Mr. Nielsen?
Well, yeah, I'm noticing this has happened a few times today, but you nailed that start in lane 1 there and drove away. You put on a clinic. Very nice job.
Hey, appreciate it, Eddie. I got some great help this last week or so. Some guys really helping me out. I want to thank Ben Dowell and Travis Johnson. So they set some time aside to help me learn this game. It's a lot harder than people think, but got some other people I really like to thank. Obviously J and D's for giving me the opportunity to drive their boat here today. Big thanks to Atomic Screen Printing and Jesse Stitches for helping put this on. And just want to say hi to all the fans out there, and especially those in Guntersville. Heard there's a couple watch parties at the Brick and Jefferson. So want to say hi to you guys, and sorry we can't be there today putting on a show for you guys on Lake Guntersville, but I guess this is the next best thing. So really looking forward to seeing you guys in next year in 2021.
Well, we're going to look forward to seeing you a little bit later on today in our final heat. Good luck when we get out on the water for our final. Great job so far today. Keep it going, my friend.
All right. Thanks a lot, Brad. Hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Jamie Nielsen, he has got himself on the front row of our final heat. He is in it. Now he'll go out and try and win it. But we still got some more business to take care of, Eddie Canfouche. We've got Heat 3B to come up with, and we've got, Jimmy Shane, Travis Johnson, Taylor Evans, and Aaron Salmon. Going to be a lot of orange in this heat, a lot of Tennessee orange. And I believe I heard you say the last time the boats went out on the water that Aaron Salmon needs, do I have that right? Aaron Salmon needs a second place or better?
I believe he needed a third, but hearing now, it seems like he might be in based on how that last heat finished. So
very good. Very good. So it's time to put our boats on the water. Let's get ready. Let's put them on the water. Let's find out. And then we'll total up the points and we'll know exactly. We won't have to do any more prognosticating. So we are 3 seconds, 2, 1, and mark. 5 minutes. 5 minutes to our Heat 3B. Heat 3B. Again, presented today by Jesse Stitch's Atomic Screen Printing and the American Powerboat Association. Looking at the pit area there, we see our 4 boats coming away from the dock. There's the Home Street Blue, Jimmy Shane. He's had a good day so far. Jimmy's not only good in the real boat, he's pretty darn good in this one. He's caught on to this game. Doesn't seem to surprise me a whole lot. Eddie Canfouche, this guy has handled every boat they've ever put in front of him since he was a little kid. This one shouldn't be any different, and it's not.
Now there's a learning curve to learning to play the game, but these guys are all the best drivers in the world, so they'll overcome it with a little bit of practice.
And apparently they've been doing a little bit of practice and getting a lot of good coaching, we might say. So that is Jimmy Shane. There we see the 99.9 bucket list Miss Rock, Taylor Evans. Going down the front straightaway there. Beautiful hydroplane that you know very, very well, Eddie. This thing's a rocket when it gets going.
Yeah. No, it's a good boat, fun boat to drive. So we'll see if Taylor can maybe get another heat win today to add to the roll that he's been on today.
There is the red, black, and silver of the U12, the Graham Trucking. Travis Johnson behind the wheel. Goes in front of the fans there on the shoreline on beautiful Lake Guntersville here and through the lower corner. Picking up the spots in there and hopping around quite a bit is Aaron Salmon in that bucket list racing, but he got it settled back down before he had to turn the boat hard to the left. There it is, the 440 bucket list racing 2. And we did get confirmation, by the way, we were talking earlier about a potential watch party with the bucket list racing team. The Stockland family and their crew, they are indeed all together up in Snohomish, up in that area. So hello to them. Congratulations on good racing so far and good luck in this one. Wonder who they're rooting for, Eddie. They got 2 boats in here.
That's a good question. But yeah, shout out to the Stocklands. I'd like to thank them for letting me drive their boat in the E-League too. And hope everyone who's watching is having fun here. It's been some great racing so far.
Well, it has been. We don't expect anything different here in our Heat 3B. Aaron Salmon's got his handful. That water's getting pretty soupy out there. He'll see if he can get out in front, get a little bit of clean water, because in real racing, just like it is right here, same thing. Clean water is everything. Look at Jimmy Shane in the park and start. He is sitting right there on the front straightaway, still a buoy short of the entrance pin to the corner. Now he picks it up a little bit. Just now coming up on 2 minutes as Taylor Evans continues at speed around the race course. We'll see what he wants to do when he gets down to the lower corner the next time. One thing about this trolling start, Eddie, owners and crew chiefs, when we did this in the real unlimited racing, it was difficult on equipment and it brought in a whole different set of parameters. In this type of racing and the virtual racing, not so much. You go slow. It's just a matter of getting it up off a plane and get it back up on a plane at the right time. You don't have to worry about tearing up any equipment.
Nope, it's a lot easier to bend strategies when you don't have to worry about fixing anything.
Yes, it affords a lot more sleep for crews and crew chiefs and crew members. A lot of orange going down that front straightaway there. Taylor Evans and Aaron Salmon. See what they want to do when they get down to the corner. I don't suspect we'd have any orange boats teaming up on that powder blue one, would we? But
I don't know.
let's take a look, see what Taylor is going to do. He pulls up alongside Jimmy Shane, but Jimmy's not sitting there dead in the water now. He's got it up and running. And so he is not going to let anybody jump across him. I think we're 2 seconds, 1 mark. By my watch, that was the 1 minute pin. I think we are clean. We indeed are. Now, the question is going to be, can Taylor get enough lead to move over on Jimmy Shane? Jimmy Shane knows boat racing. He says, I'm going to stay right here. You don't have enough overlap. You're not going to be able to come across. I got lane 1. I earned it. Taylor took a swing at it, but Jimmy was up to the task, Eddie.
Yeah, no, that was you saw there a race down the backstretch basically, and they're early on their marks now, so we'll see how well they can hit it from going this slow. But Jimmy did everything he had to do. He had to defend his lane there, so he had to follow Taylor down that backstretch, and Taylor could control how far he wanted to push it.
Look at these two come off the corner now. There is Aaron Salmon on the outside. Believe he's going to be in lane 3. We're inside 15 seconds until the start. It's Shane in 1, Evans in 2. Believe that's Salmon in 3. And then on the outside is going to be Travis. Should be 3 seconds. 2, 1. Mark, and we're racing here in Heat 3B, and it's the last chance these boats are going to have to earn some points. Who's going to get down to that lower corner first? And it's going to be all bright orange. It is Taylor Evans going to get down there first. He's not on the inside lane. He's got a lot of speed off to his left.
Oh, no, that's...
Boy, he's got a good lead off the corner. A lot of orange, and that was Aaron Salmon on the outside. The 2 orange boats running 1-2 right now. You can almost hear the Stockland family up in Snohomish. They got to be going wild at the watch party, Eddie.
You know, one thing I noticed there was after that start, I don't think Aaron was quite clear on Taylor, but Taylor was clear on Jimmy. So Taylor moved to 1 in that first corner, and Jimmy's stuck behind in the wash now.
And that we know what that's going to do. It's going to make it real difficult back there to run in that slop. You saw Jimmy. He's running 4th through the corner. But good running down the front straightaway. It is all orange. It is all bucket list racing. Out front is Taylor Evans. There, you're on board with Aaron Salmon. Driving the 440. They put lap number 1 of 3 in the books. Good racing here. And, bucket list racing. Running 1-2 right now. But we've still got a long way to go. Keep an eye on the Graham Trucking and Travis Johnson.
Jimmy just picked up the left or the right sponson of the home street there in that corner and almost went over, but he brought it back down. He is running in some slop back there.
And that is a tough road, but I'll tell you, the guy that's putting on the charge right now is Travis Johnson, driving at 12, the Graham Trucking. He doesn't want 3rd place. He is sniffing 2nd place points. To do that, he's going to have to get around the bucket list racing too. And Aaron Salmon, topping of the race course on a 2nd of 3 times around. Good run here for Taylor Evans. Everything nice and smooth. He's the one that gets to set the pace out front and run in the nice clean water. Everybody else has to run behind him, and it is slop. Look at the boat ride he's got. Boat is solid as a rock. That means he's got that canard figured out pretty good, I assume, Eddie.
Oh, yeah, no, he's been practicing a lot to get that canard worked out and find that edge, but it looks like Travis dropped back here, and Jimmy's actually overtaken him for 3rd now.
Yeah, that's the race back there now for 3rd. It is all orange way out front, and this is the 3rd of 3 times around. There is Jimmy Shane. He fought that rough water, but by being successful doing so, he did it on the inside. So when he caught up to Travis Johnson, he was to his left, not to his right. Now he can move out a little bit, find some cleaner water, and able to keep his speed up. Looks like he's solidly in 3rd place right now. Travis back to 4th. But let's go to the front because the party is at the bucket list racing shop. They are going to finish 1-2 if Taylor Evans and Aaron Salmon can come off this corner and successfully negotiate a run down the front straightaway. Looks like Taylor's got it done. Look for the white buoy to go by. That will be the start finish line, and he will have, there it goes, he will have 400 points, a 1st place finish, but they're not done yet. Here comes Aaron Salmon. He too will see the white buoy go by, pick up a 2nd place. I said it earlier, Eddie, you can almost, and you know those folks very well, you can almost hear them yelling up there in Snohomish from where you are back in New York.
I'm sure they're very pleased with the result of that one. 1-2 finish for bucket list racing. That's a great heat.
That is a great heat. 3rd place will go to Jimmy Shane, driving the Miss Home Street, the U1, and Travis Johnson will come home in the Graham Trucking, the U12. Wow, that's good stuff right there. And now, sometimes what we say when we're running around and don't have computers and calculators and abacuses in our pocket. The points are a whole bunch of fruit salad, and there's some people adding and subtracting numbers very quickly to
Looking at
figure out who our front row will be for the final.
what I am hearing now, our front row consists of Taylor Evans, Aaron Salmon, Jamie Nilsson, Bert Henderson, Jimmy Shane, and Travis Johnson.
Make sure I've got that right. U1, Miss Homestreet with Jimmy Shane. U7, Spirit of Detroit, Bert Henderson. U11, J&D's Jamie Nielsen. The U12, Travis Johnson driving the Graham Trucking. The 99.9 Bucket List, Miss Rock. And the 440 Bucket List Racing 2, Aaron Salmon. Did I get that right?
I believe you did.
And boy, it just doesn't get much better for the folks in Snohomish. Taylor, I think we've got you on the line here. Brad Luce here along with Eddie Canfouche. We made a comment a couple of times that there was a whole lot of orange way out front. There's a watch party going on at Bucket List Racing. I got to think they're pretty happy with the show you just put on.
Yeah, how about that? First and second for both the orange boats.
Great run for Orange Team.
Yeah, that's right. Orange Team rules. We're pretty happy with that one.
And just before you jumped on, we were sitting here playing with numbers, and we were advised that there's going to be a lot of orange in that final heat as well.
Yep. I got a draw with Aaron there, and I got a little lucky. He left me a little bit of a lane there to get started, and I was on the outside of Jimmy, and got a little lucky again coming out for the start where Jimmy. I noticed Jimmy was just maybe a touch early, and it made it so I could get to a flying start there, and it worked out. So,
and then you found your way to an inside lane, and it was see you later.
That's right. That last lap, I had to simmer myself down just a little bit and say, okay, just don't mess it up.
I got to ask you one other question before I let Eddie chime in here. Are you having fun today?
Oh, how could you not? How could you not? I mean, with what we've been handed this year and everything moving forward, what a better way to spend a weekend. I hope people are having as much fun with this as I'm having with this. I'm just having an absolute blast. My hands and feet are shaking.
Well, that is awesome. I'm going to turn it over, Eddie, but not only congratulations on the heat win, but congratulations with everything you're doing with that race team up there. I know you guys have been working really hard. Let's get the real one on the water here sometime soon. Eddie, you got something for Mr. Evans there?
Well, I mentioned it during the mill, I think, after the 1 minute period. I noted that Jimmy was defending his lane there, so you dragged him up way early and got him off his marks. And that was huge for the heat. But I also noticed, I want to know, do you think Aaron had overlap going into that first turn? Because it was really close.
He might have. He was pretty close there. But I was trying to keep an eye on both those guys. I mean, love Aaron to death, but I'm out here to win too. So.
Gee, there's that competitive nature we were talking about all day long with all you guys. Hey, this may be not what you guys do all the time, Taylor, but if you're going to race, there's only one way to race, right? You're going to win.
That's right. There's no stop to the competitiveness, and this is a really fun way to do it. And you know what? If you make a mistake, it's a little bit easier to recover from it. So.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple of times today too. If there's no break in the boat and late night Saturday night thrashes.
We've had plenty of those.
Well, congratulations. You're in the final heat. Go get a glass of water, a bottle of water, something cold. Shake the nerves out. You got one more to go, and I know what you're looking for. Go get it, young man.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
So let's take a break, and let's jump to a couple of commercials. We're going to let our drivers get ready for the final. Let's take a commercial break. All right, back from our commercial break here. There is only one more thing to do, and that is put our 6 top point getters in the water and send them out to race for the Southern Cup. We make this comment all the time when we're boat racing. They don't drag out the big trophy until late Sunday afternoon. Well, from a virtual standpoint, it's late Sunday afternoon. It's time to pull out the big trophy. Katie Norton's got it all polished up. The Southern Cup is up for grabs, and our 6 boats that are going to come out on beautiful Lake Guntersville, the U1, the Miss Home Street, driven by Jimmy Shane out of Maple Valley, Washington, the predominantly powder blue boat trimmed with white and black, Miss Home Street, U1. The red boat trimmed in blue, U7, out of Brockville, Ontario, is Bert Henderson behind the wheel. He's going to be joined by the U11, the J&Ds, the Chartreuse and Carnival Orange J&Ds, Jamie Nielsen behind the wheel, Jamie out of Gig Harbor, Washington. Our 4th boat coming out will be the Graham Trucking, the red boat trimmed in black and silver. It is the U12, driven by Travis Johnson. And our final 2 boats in our final heat here for the Southern Cup, going to be a whole lot of Tennessee orange. The U99.9 Bucket List Miss Rock, Taylor Evans, with whom we just spoke. He's from Sammamish, Washington. He will handle the driving duties. He would love to win this one. And Aaron Salmon in Bucket List Racing 2, the U440. It is Shane. It is Henderson. It is Nilsson. It is Johnson. It is Evans. And it is Salmon. Let's go boat racing. We go 5 times around.
All right.
Winner take all.
All right. In the words of the great Jeff Ayler, crank 'em up.
Nicely done. Crank 'em up, Mr. Ayler. I know you're smiling right now. That was thrown in for you. Eddie couldn't wait to do that one, and we're glad he did. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4 boats on my screen right there. We will have all 6. As the camera there from the causeway looking up the lake there, and the boats will come all the way across. There is the view from the race course on the other side. You've got the U11 and the U1 coming across right there. So that's Jamie Nielsen and Jimmy Shane. Other boats coming out across the water here. We'll pick them out as they come down the front straightaway here, but let's run down our field one more time, show you what the boats look like. Let's start with the U1, the Miss Home Street. It is driven by Jimmy Shane. Jimmy was the winner of our Southern Cup a year ago in Guntersville, Alabama. He'd love to back it up with a virtual win today. That is him right there on the inside. Powder blue and white, young man out of Maple Valley, Washington. The bright red boat, it's the U7, the boat from the Detroit area, Spirit of Detroit, driven by Bert Henderson. And Bert is going to have to reset himself, and this is where that rule comes in that we talked about at the beginning. They can flip today and crash, and the boat can still come back and compete. So the good news is it happened early during the warm-up period, still 3 minutes and 20-some seconds until the start.
When you have resets, you definitely, even without resets, you don't want to go over. But if you have them, it's best. If you're going to go over, you probably want to do it early.
Yeah, as opposed to the final lap, I would think so.
Right, yeah.
All right, the next boat in our field is the U11, the J&Ds, Jamie Nielsen handling the driving chores of that one. See if we can get a look at Jamie. There he is right there, Chartreuse and Carnival Orange. Jamie from Gig Harbor, Washington. The Graham Trucking is the next boat, the U12. It is bright red. It is trimmed in black and silver. Travis Johnson handling the driving duties today, subbing for our J. Michael Kelly. And then it's a whole lot of orange. U99.9, the Bucket List Miss Rock. There it is. Got that black trim on it there. Beautiful looking color scheme. Taylor Evans, the winner the last time the boats took the water in our last preliminary heat of the day. Taylor from Sammamish, Washington would love to pick up a win right here and claim this Southern Cup. The U440 rounds out our field. Bucket List Racing 2. Aaron Salmon behind the wheel. Aaron calls Bonnie Lake, Washington home. There's his ride up there. As he goes up the backstretch, you see a boat cutting the course in front of him. And that was Taylor making a cut, and then Aaron looked like he was going to cut in behind him and go back to front. Both of those are legal maneuvers. I might want to mention that these guys are actually racing for the Southern Cup today. There is going to be a trophy presentation down the road, so this is more than just bragging rights. These guys are out here racing, and How true to form is this particular software package and this race setup? You see that view right there. You're looking right across the lake, looking due west into a setting sun. That is exactly what it is like on Lake Guntersville when we race down there in real time. This is just as good as it gets. We couldn't be there really today, but we're there virtually. And this is as good as it gets, as I said. And all of a sudden now, here comes the fun stuff. Looks like
These guys are
sitting in lane
early.
one. They are early. What are we doing now, Eddie?
They're up there early, all trying to get lane 1. Taylor's on a mark right now. I think he's in a good spot, but those two up there, and Aaron especially, are early, and they're not going to have speed at the start.
Here comes Taylor in lane 3. That is Nielsen in 1. It is Shane in 2. It's Taylor in 3. And Mark, we are at 1 minute. I think the score up was clean. Look at him come off the corner now. Are we going to have any jumping around? Look at Taylor. He's moving across from lane 3. He is going to get at least 1 lane. Is he going to get 2? Looks like he's just going to get the 1. Oh,
he moved over.
He got him. And it looked from here like it was legal. We'll monitor the radio. But what a move by Taylor Evans to go from lane 3 to lane 1. But they're all early now. Eddie, what does that do to him now?
No. Everyone's clean.
Everyone's clean.
Yep.
There was some talk about possibly hitting a buoy.
Some confusion on the buoys there, but it was all clean. And here we come for the start.
We are inside 10 seconds. Watch for that white buoy to go by. We are coming up on the smart. We're 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark, and we are racing here in the final heat, and it looks like Jamie Nielsen's going to break the clock in the 11. He's got speed up. It is a clean start. Look at the speed off to his left. Taylor Evans sitting in lane 1. Look at, he's gobbling up Nielsen. He and Nielsen are going to come off the corner, virtually tied together. Shane is in 3rd, but the race is right out front. Nielsen in lane number 2, virtually dead even with Taylor Evans. Eddie, this is beautiful racing, and this is for the big trophy.
This is awesome, and I'm sure these guys out front, they're feeling it now. I don't know, maybe it's not the same for everyone, but I always get a bit nervous when I'm out there out front in the final, and it's real close right now, too. Oh, we had a couple both go, oh, they collide.
They came together, and Taylor Evans has gone over. Jamie Nielsen made contact. We'll listen to the official radio and see what kind of a call we get. They were mighty tight when they got to the corner. They got to the entrance pin of the turn up there. Jamie was way wide. He really dove to the inside. And
it was real close there. Under review.
It is under review. So until we hear anything different, Eddie, we're going to call it the way it is on the water. And that is that Jamie Nielsen is your leader as they are on the backstretch. Number 2 and over, I believe that was the Goodman Real Estate. Excuse me.
No, that is Taylor Evans.
That was Taylor. That was Taylor trying to make a charge. I knew the color blindness would get me at some point. It got me. Jamie. Wow, Jamie's running a great race so far, but we're still monitoring the official radio. And wouldn't it be something? Look who's sitting in 2nd place if there is a call made this late afternoon sun. That is Jimmy Shane driving on the home street. Coming down to put 2 of 5 in the books. Remember, we go 5 times around. Jamie's got to be really nervous. He knows there was activity up there at the top end of the race course on lap number 1. He's just wondering, is there going to be a call against him? Jimmy Shane wondering the same thing. What's going through their mind right now, Eddie Canfouche? What's going through the mind of Jamie Nielsen?
Well, I'm sure he's asking his spotter if he was clean or not. We're waiting to hear word from the official, so he's going to keep pushing out front in case there is no call. But I'm sure Jimmy in 2nd is really hoping there is, because he would be leading right now.
He would be leading right now, so we'll keep monitoring the radio. We are 2.5 laps in, 2.5 laps to go. There is our leader, but there's a little bit of a cloud hanging over the 11 and Jamie Nielsen. Is he legal? We're still monitoring the radio. We'll let you know. But for right now, he's leading the Southern Cup, the 2020 Guntersville Hydrofest, the race for the Southern Cup. 3 laps up, 3 laps down, 2 to go for Jamie Nielsen. Can he hang it on and finish 2 more? He's got Jimmy Shane in that right side rear view mirror, and I'm sure he knows Jimmy is right there in that mirror, Eddie.
You know, I'd watch here for maybe Jimmy to try to dive to the inside here. because he might. It looks like Jamie's kind of running in 2 or 3 to stay off those buoys, and that clean water in there is real enticing when you're back there like that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the home street dive inside.
We'll keep an eye on that. That's a good call. And we certainly know Jimmy likes to do that with the reel boat. He loves to see a clean lane in there and dive in. So we'll see what he does up the backstretch here on the 4th of 5 times around. Jamie Nielsen with an outstanding start, driving the 11. The J&Ds is our leader. But there was an incident on lap number 1. The officials are reviewing the call.
Sounds to me like the call has been made.
What do we got, Eddie?
1 minute penalty on the U11.
Jamie
Lane
Nielsen.
encroachment.
Lane encroachment on the 11. Jamie Nielsen. Tough break for Mr. Nielsen in the 11, but it means our leader on now the 4th of 5 times around the race course. It is Jimmy Shane. Jimmy Shane driving the home street. He's got this thing in the pocket right now if he can just hang on around the race course on this, the final lap. Halfway up the backstretch now. He can let Jamie Nielsen go. If we know it, he knows it. His spotters have told him, you're all by yourself. Just come clean through this corner. Tell me what he's thinking right now, Eddie. He just doesn't want to make a mistake.
Well, now he's just got to keep it on the water. He's got a good enough lead that I think he should be okay. And he'll come off this corner. If he keeps it on the water, he's going to win the Southern Cup.
Off the top end of the race course for the last time. Put your hands together. You won. Miss Home Street. Jimmy Shane out of Maple Valley, Washington is going to come down and pick up the checkered flag. He is your winner of the 2020 H1 Unlimited Driver Invitational Regatta. The race for the Southern Cup will belong to Jimmy Shane. And we saw a quick glimpse there of Jamie Nielsen. A tough break there is Taylor Evans. He will come home. He will get a finish. He was in this thing at the beginning and had that unfortunate accident at the top end of the race course. He will come down in second. It's going to be, I believe, Aaron Salmon in third place. So a lot of orange, but it's going to finish in second and third. Our 4th place finisher coming across right there is going to be Bert Henderson driving a 7th. The Spirit of Detroit Machinery Center. He will come down. He will finish. But there we jump on board with Jimmy Shane as he heads himself back into that glaring sun. They could be easy to find the pit area. Just drive where you can't see and start looking for those cranes. There they are. Wow, Eddie, we had some drama. I'm kind of sorry that that first lap ended up the way it did because I think Mr. Evans and Jamie Nielsen were going to put on a whale of a battle.
They had a great race going, but you know what? Sometimes that happens.
Sometimes that happens. I don't know if we can re-rack the tape there and get a look at that upper corner on lap number 1. But it looked to me when they got up there as they went up the backstretch, it looked to me like Jamie Nielsen was running out in about lane number 4. And we had Taylor in lane 1. But as they got to the entrance to the pin, Jamie just dove into lane 2 and put himself right alongside. Here was the replay here, and we look for him. We're going to have the replay coming up here shortly. I can see it already. We'll let you know when we've got it for you, but we're going to try and re-rack that and see what exactly happened up in that corner. They came off of the lower corner down there, and it was clearly a 2-boat run. And then we saw Jamie Nielsen start moving out wider and wider. He was out about lane 3 or 4 at that point, but then just dove to the, not to the inside on top of Taylor, but he dove to lane 2. So we're working to get the tape re-racked for you, get a good view of it here. And let everybody take a look-see. And I really want to hear from you on this one, Eddie Canfouche. You know how this works. You know how to control these boats. I can say what I think I saw the first time and seeing it live, but it's a whole lot different when all of a sudden you get somebody like you. All right, so here is...
All right,
we are trying to pull this up. All right.
All right. Here they come to the turn.
Here they come. There's where Jamie, it appeared, dove in. And then they got Very close right there.
All right, looking at that first, the way I'm looking at that one, if we can look at the replay again here, it looks to me like here they come into the corner. Judging by this, and I can see why the call was made, because it looks like here Taylor holds his arc along the buoys, and I think Jamie just got too close trying to keep him tight, and they touched, and that forced them both out there.
Yeah, they're talking the encroachment penalty that he went from 3 to 2 and then basically into 1. A lot of activity behind those guys that I didn't realize occurred at the entrance to that buoy or entrance to that corner as well. So that's where the action was for sure in our final heat of the 2020 H1 Unlimited Driver Invitational Series from Lake Guntersville and the Guntersville Hydrofest Southern Cup. But all in all, I would say a very, very successful day of racing. Eddie, what do you think of it?
I think it went great. There was a bunch of great racing throughout the day. The final was a little hectic, but you know what? I kind of saw it coming. You get desperate in that final. You try to be a little more aggressive, and it doesn't pay off sometimes. So that's what you saw there.
All right. I think we're going to get Mr. Shane in here. I think we've got him now. Jimmy, have you got us?
I do. How's everybody doing?
Well, good. I don't know if we got Jimmy, but we got the kids. We hear them there. But that's just as good. Well, you said earlier, you were hoping you'd talk to us later. And the one time you really wanted to talk to us later was after the final. But it was in doubt until that last lap. When did you get word that all of a sudden you were the leader?
I have about 5 seconds ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened up ahead of me. I had a great start. I was trying to just run a clean race because I knew that there was probably going to be some penalties with the 6 boats out on the water. But I had a great start and just tried to hold Jamie as tight as possible, but he got out ahead of me. And boy, Taylor was running some fast laps up there. And then I saw him just all of a sudden just come across my windshield through the air, and I was like, okay, let's keep going. So yeah, it's going really, really well here out here in Washington State right now.
Well, a year ago tomorrow, I guess it would be, or maybe it was last weekend, but a year ago, you and I were having a very similar conversation at the 2019 Race for the Southern Cup. Here you are winning it again virtually in 2020. What does this mean? Are you pretty excited about this?
Oh my God, I'm here sweating in the chair. It is it's crazy. My feet were shaking, my hands were shaking. It was like a real race. Probably more pressure than I've ever had in a race boat in a long time. So it was. This means a lot. I mean, obviously, I know that the fans are tuning in Madison. Fans are tuning in Guntersville, Alabama. There's fans tuning in all over the world right now, and it's great that we can keep that engagement. I understand that. Some people are going to complain that it's not real boat racing, but what a great job H1 is doing to keep the fans engaged. And this is a wonderful outlet to be able to talk with the people and engage with the drivers and talk with the fans and just keep people engaged in our such a unique sport that we have here. And wonderful to come away with the Guntersville win. Hopefully everything sticks and stays with the calls that were made, and but it would be amazing to win the actual 2019 race and then win the virtual drivers race here in Guntersville, Alabama. Just amazing. Have to say hi to everybody at the Brick that's supporting us and everybody at Jefferson's and Albertville. I really wish that we were there with you guys right now. Obviously, everybody knows the current environment of which we're all living in right now, and this is just a wonderful way that we can still be engaged. So I have to thank H1, thank Jesse Stitches, thanks Atomic Screen Printing, Home Street Bank. What a wonderful sponsor they've been. This is our 5th year with Home Street Bank and the Miss Madison race team, and it's just a great spot to be in. Never thought I would ever be doing this right now, but I'm happy that we are, for sure.
Jimmy, I talked to Bert a little bit earlier after his preliminary heat win, and I asked him to comment a little bit on the hospitality and the people down in Guntersville. And I've made a couple of comments today that if you're a boat racing fan and you do not live in that particular area, you got to put that one on your bucket list to go down there and see what we're talking about. Talk a little bit about the people down there in Guntersville and your experience visiting that venue.
Oh my goodness. I can't say enough good things about the people of Guntersville, Alabama, and the surrounding cities in Marshall County. It is just an amazing, amazing place to go see. I personally know some boat racers that have retired in Guntersville, Alabama, and I can see why. The hospitality, the beautiful lake. Obviously, boat racers like being on the water, and Lake Guntersville is one of the top spots in the country. The beautiful bass fishing that they have there. And now we have the Guntersville Hydrofest that's going to be coming back in 2021. If you have not had a chance to go see Marshall County, Alabama, I highly recommend it. Not only for just the environment, but the people. The people are amazing down there, and I'm so much looking forward to getting back there in 2021.
Well, you can't say it much better than that, Jimmy. I want to thank you for taking the time to do this, and I'm not talking about talking to us, but not only coming on here and racing, but to your point, this is all we've got right now that we can put out in front of our H1 Unlimited hydroplane fans. You didn't just show up today and do this. You've been working to get better and better at it and be competitive at it. I think the show is terrific. It's all we can do, and it was a good show. Eddie, I'll turn it over to you because I know you want to talk to Jimmy a little bit, but I think he said it pretty well. This is what we've got, the show we can put on, and kudos to H1 for pulling it together.
All right. First off, I want to say congratulations, Jimmy. Good run.
Thank you. That was it was great. We've been practicing the last couple of days, and I know you saw where I started from in this virtual racing. So to be able to run the lap speeds that we're running, I mean, it does take some time to get used to the game, and I'm just happy that I've had people like Kelsey Best and Eddie and the other guys that I've been playing with the last couple of nights preparing for this event. It has helped me a ton.
Yeah, and I'd like to go back to that start there. You, Jamie, and Taylor all hit a great start there, and it looked like you and Jamie got real close there right at the line. But you held on there in third. I'm wondering, what did you see of that accident in that first or second turn?
I saw a orange boat flying through the water and a lot of water flying through the air. And I turned right as soon as I saw the orange boat go up in the air. I'm like, I got to get away from that. And literally that was my strategy. Stay clean, just try to run a good race. And it worked out for me this time. It's an amazing feeling.
Well, awesome job. Congratulations. Hope you had fun today. I know I did. I'm sure Brad did too. It was awesome.
Oh boy, I had so much fun today. Thanks to everybody involved. Thanks to H1. Thanks to the Myers brothers, Scott Przybylski, who built this platform for us to race on, and everybody that has helped. And what else can you say about Brad Luce? I mean, Brad Luce can turn a one-boat race into the most exciting thing you've ever witnessed in any form of sports. So to have Brad part of this is just amazing. Well, so thanks to Brad, and thanks to all the fans watching. I hope that you guys really enjoyed it. Hope we put on a good show. And come back and watch some more. We'll be coming back the next few weekends here with some more racing.
Jimmy, thank you very, very much for the kind words and for the show you put on today. And I think it was fun, and I think we do it again. I think it was definitely a success. And Jimmy, I am under the understanding that you may have a virtual visit coming up with one Katie Norton, because I understand there is indeed a Southern Cup trophy involved. So that's going to happen down the road a piece. Oh, lots of people to thank. Eddie Canfouche, I cannot say enough about you for all of your help. You just got through saying you had a good time. I hope you did. I will tell you for a fact, you did a fantastic job.
Thank you so much. It was an honor being able to do this. It was so much fun. And as long as I'm around, hopefully I can join you guys for Madison, if you'll let me.
Well, it works for me. So far, I've been one and done with all my color commentators, and I don't know what that means about me as a person, but hopefully you'll come back because I thought it was great. I had a good time working with you. Thank you for all of that. Any parting comments you want to say before we sign off?
Well, I just want to say thank you to Atomic Screen Printing and Jesse Stitches for help putting this on. Katie Norton, of course, and everyone down in Guntersville, everyone watching at the Brick and Jefferson's, and just everyone who's supporting this. This is super cool, being able to play HydroSim and commentate over it and being able to present it to people. And hopefully we're providing good enough entertainment during this pandemic to keep people entertained.
Well, Very, very true. Thank you very much, young man. I too will echo your sentiments, and with a personal shout out to Katie Norton for all that she has done for boat racing in reality and now boat racing on a virtual level, organizing the watch parties down there. I too, a tip of the cap to everybody at the watch parties. Hope everybody had a good day. I know there was a number of them going on. I will add only a special thank you to our producer engineers today, Jared and Tate Meyer. It is absolutely impossible to say enough about everything they do, not only for this particular virtual racing that we watched today, but also for H1 Unlimited on a real scale. And also a very special thanks to Emily and Shannon Rainey, and in fact the entire Rainey family, for all they do for hydroplane racing and their help behind the scenes here with this particular event. With that being said, there we go. There we go. We just got it in our ear. Next Sunday, July the 5th, we will be in Madison, Indiana. Eddie Canfouche, what are you doing?
Hopefully I'll be back here.
Well, wait for your phone to ring. You probably won't have to wait very long, but I say let's do it. If I get the call and you get the call, let's make it happen. Next Sunday, July the 5th. So after your 4th of July party, take the next day. Let's go do this again. We'll do it. It'll be the H1 Unlimited Driver Invitational Series. Will be in Madison, Indiana. But for right now, congratulations to our 2020 H1 Unlimited Driver Invitational Series Guntersville Hydrofest Southern Cup winner. It is Jimmy Shane. The U1, the Miss Home Street. He's our champion for 2 years in a row. For Eddie Canfouche, this is Brad Luce saying so long from Guntersville, Alabama. We'll see you next week in Madison. Good night, everybody.